Hey, welcome back, guys. Welcome to Weeb Seen It, episode 7, I believe.
Yeah.
It's either 7 or 8. You'll see in the title. My name's Cam.
I'm Jimmy.
And let's just get into talking. And we're back. After a week break, technically.
Yeah, kind of an unannounced hiatus, but
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, if you're one of the people who watch us and regularly comment, sorry for not posting for the past week. I was busy again with another wedding, not mine this time, but my father's.
Yeah, 'tis the season, right?
Yeah, and just with our recording date and stuff like that. So most of the anime we talk about, other than one, currently comes out on Friday, and then we record Sunday just 2 days later, so that everything's kind of fresh. And then it comes out 5 full days before the new episodes come out, so you have 5 days to watch it before they're no longer relevant.
Yeah.
But because I was gone for the weekend, and then upon coming back, there was some stuff that went on, and then it was just like it would have come out on basically Friday.
Yeah.
Which then, so the old episodes would have been coming at the same time like the new ones. It just wouldn't have made very much sense. So we said, hey, we'll skip the week. We'll just come back and get right into most of these are going to be episode 5s now.
Yeah, we'll probably reference back to the episode before just to say
just so it makes sense.
Also, we might be blending some lines when we're talking about the episodes anyways, so...
Yeah, it's a lot of times, like, we don't really keep detailed notes. It's just kind of all up here. So there's a lot of times it might be mixed up a little bit with the episode previously. For the most part, there's actually a lot of episodes, the one that we missed that I thought were better than these ones.
Yeah, we kind of missed the high points. We've got a lot of the cooldown episodes.
Yeah, which is funny. It all kind of worked like that, like the same way. There were still a couple good ones this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a painful week for me to watch anime. Not because I didn't want to, but because I've still been busy, and it was just Halloween yesterday.
Yeah.
So even between when Friday just happened and then today when we're talking about it, I only had Friday to watch it, which I was kind of busy on because that's my wife's one of her days off work. And then yesterday, which was Halloween, so I had to watch a lot of it this morning and a lot of it on Friday during the day, and none yesterday.
Which, I mean, sometimes you just need that day of anime, so...
Yeah,
it's not a bad thing.
But I mean, now I have no plans. There's no more weddings or anything upcoming for the next who knows how long. So now I'm just have all the time to watch anime. So now it's time for me to catch up on all the ones I haven't seen in a long time.
True, because you're behind on a few, aren't you?
I'm behind on Akudama Drive.
Yeah, I think you're 2 behind on that one.
I'm 2 behind on that one. I'm 2 behind on Sleepy Princess, which is sad because I love Sleepy Princess.
Yeah.
By God's grace, I'm 2 episodes behind on.
I actually barely managed to catch up on that before I came in.
The one I literally forgot about too, the one about the where the girl says she's like a god. Do you remember that?
I haven't watched that.
I haven't seen it since episode 1. I just realized that today. I've also really still wanted to watch Talentless Nana or Nana.
That is a good one. I caught up on that one earlier today, too.
Now that I have no plans for the next foreseeable week, it'll probably be time for me to catch up on stuff that I haven't seen in a long time. Because now we have 5 whole days until it's Friday again and all of our anime comes back up. And then, I think that's mainly the ones I'm not caught up on. There's still a few things, like I never watched Moriarty's Patriot.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with that one, honestly. I watched the first episode. It just wasn't for me.
I have been keeping up. I'm completely caught up on Sports Climbing Girls.
See, I'm not caught up on that one.
I'm 2 episodes behind on the Gymnastics Samurai, which I'm kind of sad about because I was actually really enjoying that too.
I kind of forgot that was a thing.
Did you watch the episode 1?
No.
You might like it. It's not as sports anime as you'd think, being about gymnastics.
Okay.
It's about a late 20-year-old or maybe early 30 gymnastics who has a daughter, and then he's basically, it's time for him to retire, but he doesn't want to because it's still his dream to be the best, so he just keeps going.
Okay, it's one of those. Okay.
Yeah, so far, not in a very different way. It's kind of reminded me of Yuri on Ice, just how the story's kind of told, but much less yaoi if anything. So far.
I guess that's a plus.
They've introduced the main character's a very handsome lad, obviously, and then they've introduced I don't know if he's supposed to be Vietnamese or Chinese. He's not Japanese though. He's a foreigner, but he's really good at gymnastics because he played a ninja in a play basically.
That's a really interesting skill set.
Yeah, well, he plays a ninja in somewhere in Japan where you go there and it's you spend the day there, pretend to be ninjas. They have little skits and stuff.
Oh,
going on.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, but I've liked that so far. But yes, I'm 2 episodes behind on that now too.
Okay.
So basically, my week when it's been a really busy week is just making sure I've seen these anime, the anime that we have to talk about.
Yeah, and then there's the ones that we might bring up periodically. I think are next on the list, but
yeah. I have seen Kuma 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 Bear, so there's still some of those things I've seen that we're not talking about weekly, but sometimes we kind of mention it if there's a fun little footnote or something about it.
Oh yeah.
Other big news too is that Attack on Titan starts next month.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big one. So if you're an Attack on Titan fan, definitely keep an eye out. We're going to be going through that right at day 1, and I cannot think of just off the top of my head, even more than ReZero, I cannot think of another anime that is going to be as big weekly episode hype,
Yeah, because Attack on Titan like it's Game of Thrones at its top. Almost.
Yeah, it's also and this is the final season, and I mean just going off the last season where it ends with like a time skip, like this is gonna be such a season, and
yeah, let's hope they don't screw it up.
Yeah, it's just gonna be insane. I think that's gonna be one of our biggest ones. So if you like Attack on Titan, make sure you keep an eye out for it. That'll be about next month. Or if you have friends that like Attack on Titan, tell them to watch it. If they want just something weekly to follow along, discuss with. I'm betting just like ReZero, a lot of our comments will be Attack on Titan focused when that happens. I wonder if most of these will probably be over by then. So we don't know exactly what's coming along with that because that's going to be technically
I've seen a couple announcement trailers, but nothing.
Is that going to be a winter anime? Because
if it's coming out next month, it would be winter.
Yeah,
because we're in fall anime right now.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll eventually one of these episodes once we see a full list of what's coming out with Attack on Titan, we'll probably discuss that. Like always, if you're watching this, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I think we're just at about 25 right now. So next goal, I'd like to get to 50 or 100. And then, go follow us on Instagram. There's not tons posted there, but I try to post at least whenever these episodes come out. Eventually, I'd like to get to the point where the posts aren't about just these episodes, but they're more like, polls or stuff like that about like what people want to see or certain discussions on Instagram too. That'd be really cool. But yeah, there would nothing crazy on there right now. But yeah, if you go follow us, it's literally just at We've Seen It. So easy enough. I think other than that, we're probably good to get right into the episodes, are we?
Yeah, I think we are.
Before we do, I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
So let's crack them open. Cheers.
Cheers.
Come by.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Not sponsored. Yeah, we should say that every single week. Gotta get that ASMR. Okay. So we're starting off. I got all the names and episode lists on my phone. We're starting off with
Noblesse.
Noblesse. Episode 4. It is Spiderweb / Long Fall.
Yeah, I don't know why they went with a dual name on this one, but
that's one thing I've noticed right now. I don't know if it's always been like that, and I just never cared because I didn't care about episode names.
Yeah.
But like 90% of the episode names on any show right now have a dual name.
Yeah.
It was the same as when we wrote them down last week. It was about half of them, and this week it's also about half of them. So it's a crazy amount. But yeah, I don't. It's the hard part about Noblesse is that we definitely weren't feeling it the first couple episodes. I definitely think it's picked up.
Yeah, I do think that there is that OVA we have to get around to watching that's probably going to fill in a lot of these gaps. Yeah,
but maybe like a lot of your average viewer probably didn't know about this since they didn't put it in. So we're trying to come at this from the perspective of an average viewer.
Yeah. I'll probably watch it just to see, but
the one thing I'll say right away is I actually really enjoyed the weird relationship between the hacker and then his best friend.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting
I believe
that.
the hacker's name is Tao. It's sad that I don't know the friend's name, even though there's been more of it, but I remember Tao.
I feel like it's like Hibiki or something with an H.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked that. I always find hacking in shows and movies and anime it always looks so dumb. Like, there's no way hacking is in real life like that. Like, he's just like putting this in the box and he's like clicking his keys.
Yeah, they definitely stylize it.
Yeah, but I liked that whole relationship about how he just like basically now he's just kind of like hacking him for fun.
Yeah,
and they have a conversation. And listen, I was getting kind of a gay vibe off the friend. So
I mean, even the main guy is like, "Oh my god, are you gay?" It's
well,
like,
yeah, but the first part too is I think the main guy thought that he was like pining after the girl, like the new one, like the siblings.
Yeah.
Because he kind of seemed like at the beginning, and the main character thought he picked up on something, then he was trying to help. But I think he was actually more crushing on the brother.
I mean, yeah, he was just kind of looking in that direction.
Yeah, and
he seemed to be going after the. They made it look like he was talking to him because he was short, but
yeah, exactly. But yeah, now with the relationship with Tao coming out, I don't know. And then there's also the meeting between we have this difficulty every single week of deciding who the main character is, because I was going to say the main character, the red-haired guy, him meeting I don't remember his name, the purple ponytail guy.
Oh god, yeah, the foreigner.
Yeah. So he, we find a little bit of his backstory. He's not as bad as many of the other ones we've seen. He's just basically they have his sister captive.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you're working for us,
Which, I mean, like, how important is this guy that you need to blackmail him? Because he just uses a gun really well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, really well, though.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, so like they get a little meeting, they get to meet each other. It's not like planned. Like, I don't think he was waiting there for him or anything like that. It just very much was a coincidence.
He was wandering around pretending to be a tourist and was going to get his ass kicked.
Yeah, I'm assuming he was probably getting, like, they're gaining information or something like that.
Probably, yeah.
But then, then we once again get to see the red hair guy. It's his classic shonen trait is that he has to help everyone out. And
yeah.
So he hops in, they kind of bond a little bit, and then they go their separate ways. And that, of course, is all just leading up to the end of the episode where they all get captured. And then now we're going to get to see the reaction to the next episode when there's Tao seeing his friend. And then there's the purple hair guy seeing the red haired guy. Got to learn these names one of these days.
I mean, this was another manhwa, right? Or
yeah.
So I mean, I feel like the names aren't going to be like our normal fare. So
Yeah, but I feel like so far they have been though. I don't think there's been anything crazy. Like this still takes place in Japan though.
I mean, yeah, true.
Like so all the names are pretty standard. I think other than like some of the names are really easy. Like on the what are they called? The Union or whatever they're called? No, I think about this wrong every single time. It's not called the Union, is it?
No, it is.
Is it okay? So like Hammer and Shark. You know,
I mean, yeah,
I can remember those
they're
names.
code names. They're very easy. Plus, the one
Shark
guy's built like a hammer. The other one looks like a shark.
Yeah, Shark is for sure gonna be the first one to die.
I mean, I hope so.
The show's like, hey, you guys want to hate this guy? Well, there you go. Wait for him to die.
I mean, he almost got bitch slapped by oh god, what's his name?
Both the two siblings' names are complicated
Yeah.
because they're a little weird. Hers is like Sarah or something like that.
Something with an unnecessary.
Oh wait, the one what was the host from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Regis. I feel like his name's Regis.
That is.
I feel like I was watching that and I remember that. I'm like,
God.
oh, is that like Regis Feldman? And I think that's.
I feel like you're
his name.
right, actually,
I think
unless it's
is.
like a title, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They both have very strange names.
yeah.
Obviously but yeah, you get to see a little bit more of his power being a noblesse. He's doing well until they come over. He's pretty much gonna win. It's kind of even it's such a short. I love that even most shonens these days are not doing the multiple episodes fighting arc.
Yeah,
like even now, like this one was like 3 different levels of power going up to compete, but all within like 5 minutes.
Yeah, which I think is a pretty realistic way you would do it if you had those like power gaps.
I think of it like D&D, like how like a rounded D&D combat is like 6 seconds. That's like realistically combat's very fast. So
yeah, you normally like even if you extend it out, like you're maybe getting like 5 rounds, so 30 seconds.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. He showed off his noblesse power. He was kind of kicking Shark's ass, and then of course, you know, Hammer comes in with the 2 kids.
Which I'm not even sure what his power is because he just only had 2 people at his feet.
Yeah, unless like maybe it was implied that they kind of saw them earlier, and then they kind of
I think that's what it
them.
was, but I mean, it's not like he just suddenly like grabbed him without him noticing.
Yeah, I feel like he's just going to be super strong. I know that's kind of
Probably,
a generic, you know, stereotype for the big guy in all the anime with the powers, or even just in superhero stuff in general. But he's just going to be really strong. I'm betting right now.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we would have seen him fight in the very first episode as the first part when they're all kind of fighting.
Anything.
Yeah,
He was sitting around eating.
he must have already done everything.
I mean,
What if he's the super smart one? What if he's actually smarter than Tao, and he's not the hacker, but he's actually like game of chess in the whole thing?
I mean, I feel like there's really specific power you're giving this guy, but
I just don't know. Once again, with Noblesse, how far we're gonna get in like the probably 13 episodes it's gonna get. Obviously, like you're still trying to kind of figure out the storyline right now. They're looking for the coffin. The coffin obviously held Ray or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's going to be some sort of even more noblesse.
yeah.
The what's his name? It's not Frankenstein. It's something close to that, isn't it?
Maybe Igor? No, I think it's Frankenstein.
It's either I was like it's either Frankenstein or they'll like Frankelstein or something, like they changed the name.
Yeah.
But he like do you think he's like half noblesse? Like
I feel like he's almost like a thrall or
that's like well he's like implied before that like you know he's kind of like them. He's but maybe he's like a half blood or
I think the implication is that he was with the Union then swapped sides when he met him.
I mean maybe. We're still waiting to learn more about M23 and M24. Are there?
I think it's M21 and N21 or
maybe. You know, this whole story started from the last episode where we didn't talk about last week.
Yeah.
Obviously, was he got captured.
yeah, he was a real dick about it, demanding ramen and like.
Yeah, I mean, he's got kind of a plan. The whole point is that the Union thinks that they don't know that he betrayed them. They think that he might just be on some sort of really undercover, secret mission.
How shitty is your intelligence network?
Yeah, if like the mission's so secret, even they don't know about it, kind of thing.
I mean, not even that. Like, hey, we're not going to tell you about this guy who went rogue there. We don't know where he is.
I mean, they might just not know because the 2 of them like broke out or went rogue off their mission, but one of them was dead and then the other one's gone. So I don't.
I mean, yeah, but I still feel like that's a gap.
The highest up person should realize that he's not on a mission and tell other people. You would assume.
Even when you get into like secret agencies and all that, they usually have something called a burn list where they're like, hey, this guy's not with us anymore. Don't listen to him.
Yeah, because now he's just out there demanding shit. I mean, they're not treating him very well for someone who they think is on a secret mission anyways, but...
Considering he went from almost murdering him to now they're fetching him ramen.
That's true. But why did he want ramen? That's the question.
Probably because the main Noblesse guy loves ramen.
Yeah, so what was he hoping for? By ordering ramen that he would see them and like run into them? Like that's in my head I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay, like when what's his game plan? This is all a game of chess. He's ordering ramen. What can ramen get him? Like I was
he's buying time.
I was like, maybe he's either buying time or literally at one point I was like, okay, here's the thing. They're going to go pick up the ramen. Ray's going to be there because he likes ramen. He's going to see them and be like, oh man, they look suspicious. They smell like this guy maybe. Maybe they have scent things. He's going to follow them back. We still haven't seen him do anything.
No, we saw him look at M21 when a fight was going on.
That was it.
It was basically puppy doggy guy and just saying, hey, can you go do your job?
Yeah, like I don't know if this is going to be such a pre-setup season that we won't see him do anything until the very last episode. And it's about building up all the other characters
I was
first.
starting to get do you remember Sakamoto-san?
Yeah.
I'm getting that vibe from him. Just like everything's about him is amazing, but
except for,
I was
gonna say, except for he did something cool every single episode, normally multiple times.
I know, yeah, but he didn't actually do it. Like it just kind of fell into his lap.
I don't know. I saw him fight a bee at one point, or a wasp. With, I was like, that's pretty insane. Like,
maybe I think it's something closer to like Komi-san, where they don't actually do anything. Everyone's just like, oh my god.
I'm guessing that. So if you haven't seen Tower of God, right?
I haven't yet.
Okay,
no.
so I won't go deep in spoilers, but Tower of God, when you watch it, when you finish it, you were still happy. It didn't like blow your mind, but you get the feeling that it was such like a prequel series. Like they could have probably started the show with the next season when it comes out, and then you could have got like a prequel series later about the first series. Like almost kind of works like that. Like shit's just getting started now for sure.
Okay.
Because like it's called Tower of God, but they're not even climbing the tower until the end of the season.
Okay.
It's basically all these like preliminary tournaments. There's one big tournament basically to see who's allowed to climb the tower, and when you reach the top, you get like a wish.
So what we've established is Crunchyroll likes tournaments.
I think so. Yes.
Maybe that's why Noblesse isn't the greatest, because it doesn't have a tournament
yet. Maybe we'll get one soon.
So help me God, if they busted a Noblesse tournament.
But yeah, I have this feeling that we're not going to see him like do anything until very late into the season, and this is all kind of like a big setup season for them. What's supposed to be hype next season.
I remember even in the opening, it's something that stuck out to me. There's a fight going on. Someone goes to attack him, and Frankenstein intervenes.
Jumps in the way.
Like, he doesn't even react. It's like, can we see what you can actually do?
He's just going to be so powerful that no one can even do anything to him.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, my prediction is that it's going to be a very big setup season where he's not going to do very much.
Yeah.
I am actually looking forward to the next episode because now we have the wacky situation of Tao has become these weird friends with whatever the hell his friend's name is, and then obviously the red-haired guy and the purple-haired guy became like a little bit bonded by this, and now they've both just walked into the room where these two are captured, and they're all meeting each other in a much more different sense than they did before. Even though obviously his friend knows that the dude's up to something fishy, because he was hacking the police department.
Yeah, and then he's like, I just kept hacking him because I wanted to talk to you. I don't even give a shit about them.
Yeah, but now, since then, you've seen Tao kind of reveal himself as like a nicer character.
Yeah.
We don't know all of his backstory, but even like him coming up to the purple guy offering to be like, hey, do you want me to look for your sister? Yeah. And he's like, oh, why the fuck you want to do this? He's like, I just want to do it. Like, do you want me to? So, like, even just, like, in the one episode since meeting the other guy, he's already kind of become a little bit nicer.
True.
So, like, I don't know if this is going to be, like, half the union turns on the other ones to help out these kids, if they're just going to say, fuck it, like, we still, and just, like, still be enemies. Like,
yeah, because, I mean, they talk to the ponytail guy, and he's like, yeah, I killed literally everyone you've ever spared. I mean, I feel like he's going to shoot him.
You know what I did notice, though? The other day I was watching YouTube, and a Noblesse ad came up.
Yeah.
And it was Tao was, like, at the school with the kids or hanging out with them or something like that. And it was so random. God. It was like a 10-second ad. So that might be spoilers from the future, but I feel like Tao's definitely turning good. Because I swear it was like him. It was either like him at the school with them all, like wearing a school uniform or something along those lines. And it was like a 10-second Crunchyroll Noblesse ad.
Oh my God. I noticed I'm getting a lot of Noblesse ads, but I haven't got anything like that.
I've gotten tons of them. And that was one of them. I was like, oh, okay. So spoilers, I guess I can maybe kind of predict where that's going. But yeah, that was the episode. Pretty good. I think it was a little bit better than the last one. The last one was
picking up. The
last one was mainly just M21 or the hell his name was, just kind of talking with them and being captured and brought back, and his little angsty relationship with Regis Philbin. And
yeah, I mean, especially the one thing I have to say about Regis is like, man, he got kidnapped. He's an asshole. It's like, what?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, from his perspective, he didn't think he got kidnapped. He thought he just left with them.
Yeah, but I mean, if you put two and two together.
He's too much of like a proud dumbass to be like, oh, he went with them so they wouldn't hurt me kind of thing, because he's way too like, oh, they couldn't hurt me even if they tried. He's an idiot. He's an idiot character right now anyways, whatever. He's garbage tier.
Yeah.
If he's your favorite character, Noblesse, you're wrong. Next up on the list is Wandering Witch, and I actually know the name off by heart, but I'm going to look anyways because I forgot it, the title. It's episode 5, and it's called Royal Celesteria, which is the name of the city.
Yep.
So the first thing we'll mention about this is about the last episode a little bit, because the last episode was still much more on track with what we've been now seeing from Wonder Witch and expecting.
A lot more gut punch, a lot darker.
A little more mystery because she walks into a town, it's entirely blown up, and it's still smoldering. Basically, like the fires are still going. She finds one place that isn't destroyed. She goes in. She meets a woman who's a witch but lost her memory. Was given a letter from someone who, as soon as we watched it, if you didn't assume she was getting a letter from herself, what were you doing?
Yeah, it was very heavily implied.
It was very heavily. It's a very classic, like if you've seen like Paycheck or I can't think of the other one where basically characters. It was a Paycheck or Payday. There was one with Ben Affleck, and what he did is he knew that he saw the future. But you basically see the future, but then you get like your memory wiped. Right. And what he did is he left himself a box of all these different tools and stuff like that to help him out in the future, including at one point he had like a metal lighter and he put it in his front pocket. And then at the very end he gets shot, but then he actually gets shot in the lighter. Yeah. So it's one of those kind of situations. She wrote herself a letter, wiped the memories kind of thing. And it's that this monster ass dragon thing is just destroying the town like every single night until she's dead. So it was a much more. There was a little bit of mystery to it. You're constantly
it wasn't until she was dead. It was until she went and killed it.
Yeah, or everyone from the town was dead.
Yeah, which I mean, everyone was already dead.
Yeah, she would have been the very last person. I thought like the whole episode. Now that we're expecting, we talked about this last time. Now that you're kind of expecting this dark story, I was kind of like, okay, guessing the whole episode. What's the dark story? One hint was the name of the dragon thingy. Yes. I can't remember what it is right now. It was a very.
I can't.
It was a very like noble like name.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a very dragony. It wasn't like Smaug or anything. It was like, it's right on the tip of my tongue.
I feel like it started with a J.
Yeah, it definitely did in my mind. I might just be thinking of like Jabberwocky though, because that's kind of a dragon thing.
Or Jad, or I can't remember.
But yeah, so there's like this hint, and of course, like most episodes, it starts off with a little note. It's Elena reading it, remembering like a story or like hearing a story, something like that, about like a princess who fell in love with a cook, but then her family found out, and they sentenced him to death, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we go into the episode, you meet a princess, and you're like, okay, this is clearly all related. And it was just like anything. The whole episode still had like this dark undertone. You were kind of learning, and then once again it ended with, you get revealed as to what happened. The princess does kill the dragon, that kind of stuff. Who turned out to be her father. And then it ends with her just literally being insane. She's just sitting down at the dinner table with
no one there,
having a chat. And then once again, Elena's just like, peace. Like, later.
Would you want to fuck with that?
I mean, like, I feel like they bonded a little bit. Like, she could be like, hey, do you want to try and be less crazy? Like, maybe we get you out of this town now. Maybe we bring you another town. Someone sees you, like a doctor. Maybe we try and fix. Like, she could do something.
Then she finds a baker. She falls in love again, and then another city's destroyed.
Listen, Elena could try to do something, okay?
I mean, she kind of helped with the dragon.
She did. She's not a terrible person. She in almost every single episode, when she sees something, she helps in some way. Like, she can't help it, even though she tries to be like she tries to be more of a bitch than she is. Like, she's like, oh, I will not help you no matter what. Like, it doesn't gain me anything.
Then she rolls up
in the moment. She's like, oh well, like I have to help. Like, it's one of those things.
She's trying to act like she isn't a 14-year-old girl,
but she always just stops one step before truly helping. She just leaves everyone to their terrible fate. Yeah. As in more of like a bystander than being like, hey, maybe I could help this.
Yeah, it's like the people who are being consumed by plant life. It's like, I could destroy these plants, but I'm going to fly away.
But yeah, the main reason why discussing that episode is important right now is because this episode was nothing like it.
Yeah, this episode is definitely cool down.
This was like episode 1, maybe a little bit of episode 2 all over again. Episode 2 was not actually dark. There was a little bit of sadness and like...
Yeah, it had that little bit of a gut punch where it's like, she's not that amazing. There are people that are much better than her.
Yeah, and like even then, like with the little girl like stealing her brooch and that kind of stuff, just trying to join her sister.
Yeah, I guess that was episode 2.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. It was like a little sad, but like it wasn't dark, and everything kind of ended happy. But then all the rest of them have kind of ended kind of shitty for someone. And then this one just went back to like she went to the City Royal Celesteria, like the name of the episode. She met with her old teacher Fran.
Yeah, she played tag with the students for most of the day.
I liked one of the students is very Winston-like too, so I liked him a lot.
I know exactly. There's 2 of them actually.
If you combine the 2 of them, you take the blonde kid and the dark-haired kid, and you put them together, Winston.
Yeah, which again, no one's gonna get this joke.
That's okay. But yeah, it was very much she meets with she plays tag with the students, and then at the very end when she's trying to like, why are these kids trying to get me? And then her old teacher Fran comes in and was like, hey, like I run this magic school here, like will you come help me out?
Yeah, well, she was teaching at request to the king.
Yeah, so she's teaching there. She's teaching all these magic students. This whole area is like really nice. There's almost, well, it's not everyone, but a lot of it is like they're all kind of mages.
Yeah, if you have magic, you go to school, then you can go make a living off it.
Yeah, like that's while she's flying through the town, she looks kind of like a little bit amazed at everything. There's just there's delivery people flying around in their brooms. There's students. There's just kind of everyone is doing something with like magic.
Yeah.
And obviously it's mainly just because this is like a magic academy town, which you'd assume would have a lot of mages in it.
True.
At the end of the episode, it's then said like, oh, what do they do when these kids graduate? And they're like, oh, they work here. They deliver stuff. They do this. Or
they go and get a job. That's what happens when you leave school.
They're not all witches or anything like that, but they're just all using magic for something in their jobs.
Which I think is kind of a nice touch. It's nice to have like the mid-range mage as opposed to you don't have magic or you're like this super high status witch.
Yeah.
So.
Now there's a couple prediction and theories actually from this episode though. So some of the big, because most of it was just happy-go-lucky, like, teaching these kids. It's kind of cute, all that kind of stuff. But there's a couple important parts, and one is in 6 months from now, she picks up the book, which is like The Adventures of Fran.
Yeah, which is how the episode opens.
Yeah, which how it opens. So her teacher wrote a book. Throughout the episode, it is at one point, too, that Fran mentions that she was writing a book, and then she lost the pages and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she was embarrassed by it, so she threw it in her bag, never looked at it again, then accidentally
sold the bag. So she's like, it's so embarrassed that someone out there might have it kind of thing. And, that's obviously when she tells that to Elena kind of gets that because she's also writing a book, clearly, because they were both inspired by the adventures of Nikkei or Nike, if you're sponsored.
I think it's just Nike, but yeah.
Don't suck, just do it.
But
yeah, so they're both kind of inspired by her. But there was a couple subtle hints in my mind.
They were not subtle.
A couple subtle hints here. Okay, so one, Fran knows Nike.
Yeah, and she then says you were inspired by your mother, correct?
Yes. Okay. So you're picking up the same things I was picking up.
Yeah, it wasn't as subtle as you're trying to make it.
Because she mentions that she went to see. It was before even she said that though. Yeah. She mentions that she saw her mom and her mom's worried about her. And then Elena's like, "Why'd you see my mom?" And then she just kind of ignores that. She's like, "Oh, you talked to my mom," and then she just kind of ignores that.
Yeah.
And she keeps going. And then obviously the whole point is that at the end of the story, Nikkei or whatever passed on, stopped, and then she gave the book. Or she's like, oh, now you go out to her apprentice and you write like a book kind of thing.
Yeah.
So are you saying that at this point you think Elena's mom is Nikkei?
Probably.
Different name or hidden or something like that. And then she gave, and then Fran is her apprentice. And the main reason that Fran came to the town in the first episode to begin with was probably to see her.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what we're feeling. Those could have been the big important parts.
I mean, they even showed the picture when they're talking about the story from the Adventures of Nike, and it looked like Fran.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, so a couple of the questions then left just to kind of finish off the theory would be, but the whole name, obviously, I'm pretty sure Elena's not an idiot. If her mom's name was Nikkei, she probably would have been like, wait a minute.
It was probably a title.
I can put two and two together.
I mean,
maybe she was the Nike witch. Her actual name is just because she was sponsored.
Oh God.
Who knows?
Because Elena's running around. She's known as the Ashen Witch.
Yeah.
And then Fran's running around.
Yeah,
she's
the Nike witch, exactly.
Well, Fran was the starry witch.
In her fucking sick high tops.
God damn it.
Her polo shirts. Yeah, those were definitely the strong hints implied in the episode anyways. Yeah. Obviously, a couple more like little puzzle pieces will probably be given us to eventually put it together.
I mean, just don't even listen to us. And like in 3 episodes, it's going to turn out it was actually her dad and he had a sex change.
Wow, deep. That'd be unexpected. Yeah, I'm just waiting for more confirmation on the name thing. Mixed with they've never once talked about her mom being magical in any way.
Yeah, I mean, we never actually saw her do anything, and she's never been referred to by name.
Yeah, she was just chilling. But I would hope that Elena would not be so dumb that if her mom's name was Nikkei, that she would not have realized.
If her dad always referred to her mom as Honey, and she only ever called her mom.
It's true. I feel like I want to go back and rewatch the first episode and see if there's any more hints.
Yeah?
Because obviously she loved this book since she was a kid. Where'd she get the book from? Like, was her mom, like, reading her the book? Was she, like, a fan of her reading the book? Or was she like, oh, don't read that book? Was she a little embarrassed at the fact that she's reading the book about her?
I mean, she kept the book about herself around. I mean, I don't think she'd be embarrassed.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch it and look for hints. Other than that, it was a very chill episode and did very sweet. She's like, oh, come back and see me eventually. All the students are like, oh, we like you. Come back. Here's some butterfly flower shit, and throwing them at her. And then she takes off. And then this episode, we didn't get her classic, slightly narcissistic talk about herself till the end of the episode. True. And she didn't really say anything aggressive. She's like, oh, who's that person flying through? Like it wasn't as narcissistic as the first one. She's like, who's that beautiful witch on that fucking broom? Oh, wait, that's me. This one, she was just like, it was kind of at the end.
Maybe she's mellowed out a little bit.
Yeah. So much cheerier episode, but maybe it's just giving us that high to then hit us next episode.
Yeah.
Darkest episode yet coming this Friday.
It can't be dark all the time. You have to have that high comedy moment.
Yeah.
Even shows like Goblin Slayer have the episode where they're they're drinking and they're chatting, they're eating cheese.
I mean, Goblin Slayer became a lot less dark once the whole party thing was introduced. Like once they kind of formed up into the party for sure, because you got a lot more funny characters like the lizard guy.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. You can't always be dark and evil and
you have to mix some good episodes in to then throw people off their guard. Now, when next episode is gonna be dark as shit. It's gonna be the darkest episode yet.
So we're gonna see dead children next episode.
Yeah, for sure, all of them. Or she's gonna go back to that town immediately. All of those kids in class are dead. All of them. Fran actually killed all of them. New prediction. Keep an eye out for it.
I'm not even touching that.
Oh yeah, that was Wandering Witch episode 5. We'll talk about it next. We'll talk about it next week when we get there. We're gonna see if our predictions are right and if it's actually the darkest episode yet. So look forward to that. Next up on the list is I always just put down a million lives. It's I am standing on a million lives or something.
Yeah. Do we have the episode name for this one?
I have the episode name for this one. It's probably also a double episode name. It is not. It's just What a Life is Worth.
Okay.
This episode took a very large focus on the Night Lady.
Yeah, we got a little bit more on,
or not like knight. I don't know, fighter. I guess is what her technical class is. I think.
I think she's considered a knight.
Is she?
Because she has the shield and the sword, not just the.
She annoyed me all episode. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, she's
I feel like this was supposed to be the episode where you're supposed to like her, and instead it was the episode where I didn't like her the whole time.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, obviously we didn't talk about the last week's episode, but this one starts off with they were captured, and the main character had to go out and find a way to get them uncaptured by bandits. So this one starts off with, well, technically the last episode ended with them being released, but this one restarts off with them being released, but a little more her perspective.
Yeah, because the last episode was more focused on you and him getting like a new companion for them.
Yeah, the crazy night lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one starts off with them being rescued, but while they're rescued, obviously some of the bandits are killed, and then she like sees the bandits being killed, and she's like, "Oh, this is so messed up." Like,
which I do want to note, they do show like 5 minutes earlier they went to rape her, so it's like,
yeah. I mean,
it's just like, first of all, I wasn't expecting that from this.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they didn't do it. Like they were just heavily implied. A guy like licked his lips or something, But
it was heavily implied. Then they got bitch slapped by the weapons they couldn't take away. So
yeah, that's not the weirdest possible rape that's going to be on this list today. I'll tell you right now.
Oh God,
I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about.
Yes, I know.
But we're discussing that soon. But no, yeah. So the bandit was killed in front of her. She was all upset because she's like, "Oh, seeing people die. Obviously, maybe that messes you up a little bit."
I mean, yeah, but it means it's not the first thing she's seen die in this.
You would also realize, like from her perspective, even if we don't currently know, from what they know, it's like a game right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, like how much would that really affect her? And then you kind of get a little bit of her backstory about they don't have a lot of money. Her mom is sick. She's sick. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to school for like medicine so I could like basically make a cure for this, using pharmaceutical knowledge."
Yeah, and she's talking about her grades, and it's like every time I go to phys ed, my score was 1, and I'm like, first of all,
well, is that like 1 out of 100? Because that's weak.
I'm assuming it's a percentage thing because she never actually participated.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's something you could go to the school. It's like, hey,
yeah, I swear to God, the school would not let you get 1s or fail, or even still make you go to gym class and just sit there while it's going on.
I can understand like you still have to attend and you have to sit out, but like I think that would still get you like the net 50 because you did all you could do.
Yeah, and there's also health. I don't know if in Japan there's also health class linked in, but that could boost the grade up a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like there has to be some sort of written component.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a little harsher for schools actually giving her 1s, for the fact that she's sick.
I mean, I feel like it might have just been a clerical error and she just never brought it up. And
yeah, but then the most of the episode does take a focus on her. It's all about like her basically being, I need to become stronger here. She's like, I want to protect people, all that kind of stuff. Very standard shit.
Which, I mean, even then, I got a lot of vibes of her, like, not actually wanting to do it. Because she was like, this world's throwing all my plans into disarray. It's like...
Yeah, like how? When you come back from this world, you go back to the same day as the other world. Like, it doesn't... Yeah. Maybe if you die, it'll throw all your plans into disarray, correct? Like, but that's part of life anyways.
Everything I wanted to do required my world to be peaceful. Now it's not peaceful. It's like...
I mean, does it? Does anything you want to do require your world to be peaceful? I was like, not... I mean, I guess like the thing is, I would understand if she was like officially a doctor, because doctors technically like take pledges not to ever take a life, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then maybe she wouldn't be able to take lives in this world. She's like, oh no, that's against my own like.
But even then, a doctor isn't going to let someone murder them because they're like, oh, Hippocratic oath, can't do anything. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a really serious one, but
I mean, they wouldn't be a doctor for very long.
Yeah, her logic doesn't make any sense, and then her weakness is, shown off in this episode a lot. She can't hold the long sword, basically.
Yeah, which
weighs her down.
My big thing is like, okay, you can't hold that sword. you still have a short sword and a shield.
Yeah, we've seen her use multiple different weapons in this. Like, then use those ones. Like,
you don't need a goddamn longsword.
Yeah, in the part of the episode, she kills a goblin finally. It's like her first time killing the goblin.
Yeah.
And then she basically, like, freaks out about it the entire time. Like, she cries while killing it, like, apologizing to the goblin.
Which, I mean,
she feels like the flesh tear when she pushes through it.
I feel like, based on everything they've done up to this point, she should have at least killed one.
You would think, but we've never actually seen it. I can tell you that, because even before the main character came in and finally started killing goblins, the wind lady was just gently bristling stuff, and then she was doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but even then, she randomly once like touched someone with her staff, and they had wind blow at their eyeballs. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's just, she keeps like deafening people by having them blow out their ears. Now is her thing. But yeah, and then like obviously the big part in the episode is they're on their way to the place they have to go for the quest. And then there is a carriage being attacked by some like werewolves or wolves or something, wolf people or something. Yeah. And then, they're all like, the main character's like, oh, let's just like, we only have 15 days left. Like, we can't really take time to do this. He's like, let's just keep going. And then she's like, no, I refuse. I have to help these people. I'm like, oh my God, you stupid lady.
It's like, now you choose to be useful. Great.
Yeah, it's like, you just like, literally, it's been like a day since you were crying while killing goblins. And now you're like, oh, I'll go kill all these wolf people that I definitely couldn't kill anyways to save these people. So, like, she's like, I'll go, and the main character's like, no, like, we don't really have time. And then, once again, it's like the main character's the dick character, but then immediately after he's not the dick, so he kind of keeps swapping back and forth.
Because, I mean, he sat down and he's like, well, this might be an event, and this might be important. So
yeah, but I feel like realistically, he just, like, felt bad, so he used that logic to, like, explain. He's one of those characters that...
he's not going to do anything for no reason.
You watched a little bit of Snafu, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like Hachiman in that. His whole thing is that he's not actually a dick, but many times he acts like a dick because it's easier than...
Yeah, he plays the role because that's what's expected.
Yeah, it's easier for him to play the role of the villain than it is for people. Like, he doesn't want people to know he's, like, nice or good or, like, smart or anything, basically. That's, like, kind of like what the main character in this was doing. He's like, yeah, I guess, you know what? If this is an event, we don't want to pass it this chance, so I'll go with her. You guys keep going.
Yeah.
So then they go over and they use a couple tactics trying to basically be like, hey, we can't fight these. The main character's like, you know what? I'll just, like, lure them. All you guards, they're still alive, attack while they're turned. And then, then we get to see the girl do something semi-useful, She waits till the very last second, draws the thing in, and then as it's running towards her, she then summons a sword. So while it's summoning, the weight doesn't weigh her down, and then basically the force of the monster running into her is what kills himself. Yeah. So, something useful.
Which, I mean, I feel like if that's what you can do, I mean, they shouldn't have been that hard to kill in the first place, but...
Yeah, if it just takes one little sword attack.
Yeah.
And then, after they rescue them, then there's, like, this, like, weird... plot that's revealed where the guards are like, oh, these people are actually being brought to the place where they're going to go, like Rotoboro, what the hell that place is named.
Yeah, it's Rotoboro or something like
Rotoboro Dongoro or something silly.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we're actually taking all the civilians here with us. They're like prisoners. We're taking them to be executed there.
Yeah, it's like they're heretics for worshiping the wrong god. It's like, oh god, it's one of these storylines.
One of these ones. And then the main character's like, oh, he's like, wait a minute. He's like, are we supposed to like help bring these people to them for them to die, or are we supposed to stop them? He's like, which way's the right way?
Yeah, because their quest was to deliver the cargo. It's like,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of a very vague quest anyways. Like,
yeah, they're like, deliver the cargo to Rotoboro. It's like, you guys never picked anything up, so now you're just going to grab some random schmucks.
Yeah, they're on the way. They're like, well, you know what? Like, maybe it just didn't bring any cargo. We just need to find some cargo and bring them there. So,
because we technically you can say, I delivered myself. Yay.
Yeah, so the very end of the episode is the main character being like, oh, like, which is the right choice? Like, are we supposed to bring these people there to get executed, or are we supposed to, like, stop it kind of thing?
Yeah, because I guess this is supposed to be more of a world-building thing where they're like, do we care about the people here? Or
one of them is a child, even if it's a fake game child, it's, all the main characters and the women and that kind of stuff are still not going to want the child to die.
There's that natural instinct. You don't want to kill a child.
Yeah. So. We also learned in this one that the main character has healing powers. He speeds up their natural metabolism or something that heals himself. Yeah. I don't understand why that's related with a chef or a farmer, but
I think it's the person mage or whatever it is.
Oh, that would make more sense. Yeah, he got like a summoner.
Yeah.
I think what it was. But I still don't understand completely how that's part.
I mean, he's able to like say like look behind you, and they look behind him. It's like.
Yeah, he also in this also said that he could take like the blood of the enemies and turn it into like MP for himself. He learned it from like the Berserker or something.
Yeah.
Once again, vague rules. They don't want to explain too much. They're just like, hey, these are how some of these things work.
Yeah, I feel like he's just like trying shit out. It's like, hey, this works. It's very much like I'm thinking almost like Kirito or the Maple from Bofuri.
Mm-hmm.
Just like hey, we tried something, it worked.
Just stumble on things randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the last episode more. The main character fighting the tournament, getting like instantly knocked out, meeting the crazy lady who likes stabbing people and rendering flesh. This one I feel like I was supposed to like, and the whole point was they wanted us to like the girl a little bit more. But I didn't.
She was just annoying.
Yeah, she just annoyed me. She kept flip flopping. She'd kill something, then cry about it, but then she would, then the next day she'd be like, "Oh, well, let's go kill these things to save these people." Like, well, if you're not ready for that yet, then you're not helping anyone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was more upset about stabbing the goblin than when she found out that kid she helped was dead.
Yeah.
So it's like priorities.
Yeah, it just went real back and forth,
Yeah.
and I did not like her any more than I did when I started the episode. In fact, I probably
Yeah.
disliked her a little bit more. But maybe she has room to grow. They have the Night Lady who's really good with them. She'll probably train with her, learn how to use the sword a little bit, maybe get a little stronger. Maybe class upgrade to a knight or something cooler.
I'm pretty sure she is a knight.
think
She's like a knight or a sentinel or maybe.
I think when they
warrior.
first came in, she was listed as a fighter.
Okay,
I think it had like
maybe.
base class, but that knight might be something more advanced, maybe. Or
But
more,
the thing is, they just roll the dice on that. And
yeah, each time. That's it. I'm the rules of the whole thing don't always make sense. Like do they always reset ranks when they come back in? Because that seems like a pain in the dick.
well, I don't think they reset ranks because he's basically got like 10 levels of farmer, 10 levels of chef, and then
So it's like Final Fantasy 14. They can just keep changing classes and keep leveling up those classes separately and swapping
I
them.
guess you like just rank up the newest class. You get to go back to all your old ones or something. But
Well, we know from that one episode where they showed the flash forward into Tokyo being attacked that the main character looked like something a lot cooler.
you got something that actually has a
Like a
proper weapon.
dragon knight or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
So he's probably just building up this big repertoire. But like, how does he keep? Is he the only one literally leveling up? Because he keeps hitting rank 10 and keep re-rolling for a new job, and none of them have changed ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've kind of established like the one chick can like heat things up.
Yeah,
Like
that's
mildly.
But that's the thing. Like, is she by the time that she like can do anything? If she actually ranks up to like 10, does she then just change jobs? I feel like they're gonna keep all the side characters in their same role for always.
Yeah.
But the main character's gonna keep swapping them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just feel like once again, the rules in this show, it's not supposed to be a super deep.
We're looking
isekai
into
or
it more
anything
than
like
was
that.
intended.
Yeah, but maybe eventually they'll decide to go that way.
Like maybe it's like the villager class from the Fire Emblem games. It's supposed to be the class that can kind of do a bunch of different things.
Maybe.
So because he pulled that, he can keep getting new classes and getting other bullshit skills.
They'll never explain it, and that's
Yeah.
just what we have to deal with. Wasn't a bad episode, but I just hate that girl. So I'll be
Yeah.
very glad that the whole next episode will hopefully not have anything to do with her. And we'll just get to see what choice they decide to
I
make.
mean, we're probably gonna get the glasses girl next
Yeah.
because the episode before this was on you.
Yeah, but I feel we know enough of the Glasses Girl background. She's kind of a bitch.
I mean, they might explain why she's useless, and she's like, "Oh, they were just going to revenge porn me." It's like, why are you okay with this?
yeah, she's like, I did technically say that chick's a bitch online, so like
Yeah,
I
not-
did deserve the
Not a reasonable reaction.
I did deserve the sexual harassment. But
I feel like I said this the last time we talked about her, but she is just way too cool with this shit.
yeah, I don't know if we'll get more of her like younger person backstory.
Maybe.
Because so far we've got a little bit of more of a kid backstory on the other two girls so far.
Yeah.
So we'll probably get hers. I don't know if anything, it'll be in like the next couple episodes before they finish the task and we have to meet a whole nother character. So
Yeah, unless they just do a major skip forward with these just to kind of get to the resolution of the
yeah,
do we kill the kid arc.
yeah. And then if they do that, they're kind of like done. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause,
Well, I'll just have to wait and see, I suppose.
Yeah, because I remember from the opening and ending, they don't show any other characters other than the ones we've seen. So unless they're going to add them in, but
Yeah, I don't know. That's it. They'll either add them in or they'll give a hint. They may have like a full episode or 2 episodes where they're outside, not in the game.
yeah,
And they'll kind of lead it to there. So
true.
we'll have to wait and find out. We're episode 5, so there's probably going to be another like 7 or 8 episodes, I'd guess.
Yep.
So still a little while.
Yeah, we're probably looking at a 13 episode series. So
Yeah, so we'll know a little bit more when we get to like the halfway point, like kind of see where the rest of the show's going. But next up on the list is Don Machi, and this would be season 3, episode 5, I believe, as well.
Yes.
Yeah, season 3, episode 5. It's the Ecchi family - King of Atrocity. And obviously, we understand the first part of that, which is Ecchi's family, because a lot of it is they are the bad guys. Now, King of Atrocity, though. Who is the King of Atrocity?
That's a big question, actually. I forgot that was even the title of this episode.
Yeah, that's why when I was writing this down, I was trying to figure out, because most titles, you're always like, oh, this makes sense in this one area, but I couldn't exactly put my finger on what the King of Atrocity meant.
Yeah, unless it's like the Dix guy.
Yeah, but even like...
Because a lot of them have titles, right?
Yeah, but no, he's not cool enough to be King of Atrocity. He's hinted at to be very strong, right? They said he was like at least like level 5 or something. He was something along those lines. But I feel like they would have told us by now, before putting that as like a title of the episode name, what his name is to make it make sense.
I mean, unless they're talking about the gargoyle or...
That's what I was thinking. I was like, they could be talking about him, but that also seems a little bit aggressive.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe they're talking about like Oranos. Is he called the king instead of like God? Like, because he sits in a very large throne all the time.
I mean, true.
So I was like, maybe he's like the king of atrocity, but he's doing good stuff technically, as far as we know. So
yeah, I mean, they could even be talking about the Eagles family God, just like because he seems to fuck a lot of shit up.
Ikalos?
Yeah. I wanted to say that, but I was like, is that actually his name?
I believe it is. Yeah.
It was. I don't know. I thought they called him something.
We know they don't
I'm
have.
thinking of Deeks, but
Yeah, Dix is
Yeah.
the one guy. Listen, Dix he is, okay?
yeah, it's a pretty apt name.
So yeah, obviously I'm trying to think of this is the part where I kind of mix in by not talking about it last week, is that the last episode of Don Machi we talked about, where they had met the friendly monsters.
Yes, I don't know if they'd actually had the conversation with them, or if they had just kind of come out and was like, "Hey, by the way, we're not evil."
Because we definitely talked about it. I think that it was just like the fight where they fight, like Bell and him fight, and then he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm actually the friendly monster."
Yeah.
Because that's what I was trying to think of, like last episode, and it was the entire last episode that we didn't like, not the most recent one, just them talking inside there while Hestia was talking to Oranos.
I think that was a lot of it. Yeah, we got a little bit of side stuff and a little bit of the Loki the Loki Familia was this episode actually.
Yeah, that was this one. You saw Loki and you saw Soma both in this, or not Soma. What's her name? The crazy chick, Freya.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say, you're gonna be more specific, man.
The one who's like, I feel like is being hinted at being the big bad for like the end of the show or something.
She's gonna do something at some point. I mean, we saw her bitch slap Ishtar.
Yeah, and she has a weird obsession with Belle.
Yeah,
which is never good. But yeah,
I mean that's true for every female character in this show.
But yeah, this one takes place with basically a little bit of the start. Belle and the family take off. So they talk with I think his name's like Lyd or Lyd.
Lyd, I think.
The friendly lizard's name. They talk with them. They end up leaving Weene there because they're like, oh, like Weene, you have to stay with us. You're making danger for Belle and all them.
Yeah, this way you're not going to get killed on this.
And I did feel bad for her because she's like no one in the Hestia Familia said anything. They're just like letting her go. And then right at the very end, Belle at least like yells out. He's like, oh, he's like, we'll come back for you, kind of thing.
Which I mean, they were barely able to get that deep. So
yeah, and then literally as they leave, you then see Dix. They have like a plan going on, something vile, and then it's part of the what's their name again? Xenos. It's technically like the name of their village or whatever.
Xenos
so they're looking for they're moving to a different hideout because they have to swap them every now and then to avoid like raids and stuff. So they have a small little party including Weene, Spider Lady, a harpy, big Tauros guy with hammer.
Yeah, shadow and armor, stuff like that.
Yeah, like they're moving, and then that's when Weene has a really good sense of hearing, and she hears someone like screaming for help, like one of their kin, another monster. And as they get there, it turns out to be a trap set by Dix and all the other Dix too.
Yeah. And
then you get into a little fight scene of basically just all the monsters getting slaughtered. I think literally the only one who lives would be Weene.
Yeah, I think Weene, because he even killed the one they used for bait, which seems kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, he just at the very end, he just like throws the spear and kills her.
Yeah, I mean, didn't they leave the harpy alive too? Like the one that was fighting with him, or did she die too?
No, she died too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she got like kicked by someone in the sky, and then they killed her after.
Oh, right.
Yeah, literally killed everybody except for Weene.
Which I mean, seems kind of counterintuitive because they're supposed to be selling these creatures.
Yeah, but I guess they just said fuck it. Like they're like,
like
this one's the only one worth money, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
So we'll get more into the scene after. We'll just kind of go through the plot episode as we go right now. So then after this, basically what happens is they're mad. The rest of Xenos is very mad, especially the gargoyle guy.
Yeah, pretty rightfully so, I think.
Yeah, from when they first showed him, it's not he never directly says he doesn't like trust Belle and them. He mainly more says that he does, like, even if Belle and them are nice, like he's not like thinking Belle and them are tricking him. He's like, even if they're nice, like they're still human.
Yeah, they're going to leave at some point.
Yeah, they're like, this will never work out for us. They'd still like save themselves first at some point.
Yeah.
We'll never truly get this bond with humans kind of thing. And then now, after these humans have taken Weene and killed all like their friends who were on the traveling, now he's fucking mad. So he's like, you know what, guys, we're doing something about this.
Yeah.
He's like, we're gonna attack, we're gonna do something, and then you're like, as the audience, you're like, okay, like what's he gonna do? Like, are they gonna go up to the surface? Like, are they just gonna go through and kill adventurers? But then you get like shows from Belle's perspective and all the rest of the Hestia family. Emergency alarm goes off, and they announce that the monsters have attacked I don't remember what the town's name is.
Oh God.
But it's the town. I think it starts with an F.
Something like that, yeah.
But yeah, the monsters.
It's like the 18th floor.
Yeah, monsters have attacked the town on like I think 17th.
So, yeah, 18th is where they went down the
Yeah, the monsters have attacked the town on the 17th floor, and then obviously that's already kind of strange to begin with, and then
because it's supposed to be a safe spot. The monsters are supposed to spawn there.
Yeah, and then basically it shows a couple different perspectives. You see like Oranos, with the guy who gives out the quest. So I'm assuming just someone in his familia.
Yeah, he's like the head of the familia.
Yeah, so he comes in and he's like, oh, like we're only going to use the Ganesha family for this. Only the Ganesha family will be allowed. No more adventures allowed inside the dungeon until this is taken care of. And then like also get like a message out to Bell. Secret message to Bell. He's hopping in this too.
Yeah, I don't think he even told him that. I think he said that strictly through his
to Fells.
Yeah,
I believe in the name Skeleton.
Yeah.
So then what happens is, Bell goes to the guild to find out, and then at the same time, it's perfect because the message comes that they need him. And then Bell learns right there too that they weren't just any monsters; they were specifically monsters with armor and stuff like that and weapons. So Bell knows that Xenos is attacking, but he doesn't understand why at this point. It doesn't make sense to any of the Hestia Familia. They literally would have just gotten out from talking to them.
Even Fells and Ordos don't know.
No, that's because like the jewel was broken and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, we got attacked. Smash our only line of communication."
Yeah, so basically, it's the issue right now is that it's the Ganesha family because they're the only other familia that knows about these monsters.
Right. Even the familia doesn't. It's just Ganesha that knows.
Yeah, so they're going in to subdue. They've been specifically ordered not to kill the monsters too, just to subdue them, kind of thing. This is Oranos. He doesn't want just all of his years of planning to go to waste by having them all die right now.
One does a stupid thing, so now they're all dead.
But yeah, the issue is everybody in the episode kind of takes issue with Bell being sent. I don't know if it's just because they're all like it's all the people that know basically like Hermes and Oranos and all them because no one knows right now what happened, which is kind of like as the viewer it's kind of frustrating because but they're being sent to subdue these monsters even though the monsters have a pretty fair point at this point. They've been attacked, a big misunderstanding.
I mean, even then, like they have a beef with one specific familia, even though they don't know that. So.
Yeah, no one really knows that except for Oranos. He very much knows. He kind of figures at this point they have a secret entrance into the dungeon that isn't through Babel or Babel or whatever the hell it is.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think that'd be hard to do. You just need to dig under the city.
Yeah, I don't know the specific information on how the dungeon works. If it's literally just the Babel is like a hole that goes in, and then if you just dig your own hole, if it takes you there.
Yeah, I feel like, if you just dig in that direction, you're going to hit something.
Yeah, so there's a lot of it as the viewer is kind of frustrating because there's this big misunderstanding. You're like, oh, why can't they just learn? So it's just like now we're just hoping that Bell gets down there and he gets to talk to like the gargoyle guy. They'll be like, oh, like Weene was taken. Bell will get super mad. Take out.
He doesn't even know Weene was taken. He just knows a bunch of them got guffed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I guess that's true. But you'd think they all disappear when they're killed, so you wouldn't really know that Weene could be taken.
He just found their broken armor and weapons.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean there's a lot of this. Oranos suspects the family, anyways, the Ecchi family, very much. So that'll come in play. So that's mostly the episode. It kind of finishes just where you see the Ganesh family about to go in, and then Bell's secreted among them.
Yeah, decked out as his supporter.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to go in, and that's where the episode ends.
Yeah.
Now to get into some of the finer details of the episode, my complaint from earlier.
Yeah.
Upon killing the monsters, the lady was kind of in charge, the spider lady.
Yeah.
Cool spider knight. Kind of a bitch, but like a strong bitch. I
mean, understandably, it's very much they're going to kill us. I'm going to be a bitch.
Very much kind of the same perspective as the gargoyle guy. Like she doesn't necessarily trust humans, even like Bell and them. She still thinks like it's kind of foolish. They can only really trust themselves. But she's not like a bad person. Those are decently fair opinions from what we've seen so far, especially because we've only really seen them interact with two familias. Bell's obviously nice, but Ecchi not so much. Their kind keeps getting hunted by both monsters and humans, so
they kind of have it bad.
Yeah, you can't really trust a lot of things when it's like that. But she seemed like a cool character, but obviously she's one of the people that gets destroyed. One of the monsters, everybody except for Weene, part of the crew. But the main part about this that was weird.
This is where it kind of went off the rails.
So upon her being beaten, then somebody
cut off some of her legs.
They cut off some of her legs for sure, and then the crew members were like, "Hey, if we're gonna kill her anyways, like, can we have fun with her first?" And I'm just sitting there like,
what?
I don't like where this is going.
There's only two ways you can go when you say that.
It's either torture, like just torture, sure.
Screwed up, but okay.
Yeah, a little messed up. But you know what? They're gonna kill her. They don't really get anything from torture, but they're just some messed up dudes. They just like torturing spider ladies. No big deal.
Yeah.
Or the other one, a different form of torture. Rapé, as it's called. I was going to say to stay monetized. We're not monetized. It doesn't matter. But brought back some Monster Musume vibes for me. But
I wouldn't even say that because like that was mostly consensual from what I understood.
Oh yeah, that's true. The spider wanted to fuck in that situation.
Yeah, this is more like episode 1, first 5 minutes of Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, so luckily the spider lady spits out acid on all of them, so none of them die actually though. We do see them later.
I mean, they're pretty scarred up, so
yeah, but okay, like when I was watching, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? I know you're fictional, but I still don't get it. Like,
I guess they really want us to hate this Familia.
Yeah, like what were they even gonna do?
You know what
they don't know the anatomy.
It sounded like they did.
Yeah, I don't know. But I was watching and I was like,
there was very, very much implied that this was not the first time they went for this.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of monsters and stuff too, right? So they're obviously bad dudes and they're capturing all these monsters and stuff.
Yeah,
but
I mean, we see Deeks go around just murder them randomly. It's like,
yeah, but that's more acceptable at least. I like the fact that he just murders them. He doesn't want anything else from them other than their dead bodies. But I feel
what they do doesn't make sense, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're all bad at their jobs anyways. Their job is to sell monsters. All we do is see them kill the monsters.
Yeah, they're like, we have 8 monsters here we can capture. Kill all of them except for 1.
Yeah, they can take any one of them captured, including all of them. But
they even kill the one that uses bait, so they technically walk away with nothing more than they came in with.
Yeah, they take Weenie, obviously, because she has plot armor. She's very important. They can't insta-kill her. But yeah, that whole scene, I was like, oh, dear God, like, not one of these.
Oh, God.
Luckily, it didn't go there, because, you don't always want. Sometimes.
Something like Danmachi, I don't want that in. Like, they came close in the 2nd season.
Yeah, like, sometimes anime can use, like, sexual assault stuff and work in, like, a very good, like, a very dark plot, but that kind of, like, fits with the tone and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of a good example right now, but I'm blanking. But there are definitely some that have good examples. But some of them not good examples.
It's kind of hard to, like, list them off here, so.
Yeah, but even something like...
I think Perfect Blue did it okay, and
something even like a Million Lives. Not even just thinking about the most recent one that was kind of hinted at in the last one, but even before that with the girl and all like the other girls in the bathroom, stuff like that. It was kind of like a joke immediately after, like the main characters breaking all their phones for fun, and like they were kind of sad, and it's almost like they didn't do anything wrong. And it's like, what do you mean they didn't do anything wrong? I understand they're all women, but this is still assault. Like,
yeah,
I was like, I don't get it. And like they just played it off like immediately like a joke. And I was like, I don't want the risk in like Danmachi to go that far. It becomes very much like always the second part of Sword Art Online seasons.
Oh,
I was like, no, Danmachi, don't even risk it. Don't risk it. You don't even risk it being bad by doing this.
You guys got close enough when you've implied forced sex work in the last season. Just
that's true. They did go deep into prostitution the last season, but.
I mean, even then, they kind of whitewashed it at the end where they're like, oh, Haruhime never did anything. Do they know that?
Yeah, it's almost as if like having a character who would have been like a sex worker would have been like bad, like having her as one of the main characters instead of just like instead of having this character who is in fact like who was a sex worker and then having her go into like the main cast with the family and just being cool with it.
Yeah,
I guess at least we have like Aisha or whatever the hell her name is,
Yeah, she's working for the Hermes Familia, but it's still like you can't just retcon that shit. Like, the entire plot was based around the idea of, like, can a hero save a prostitute?
Yeah, like, is her life worth it? Especially, like, worth the damage they can do to the Familia but even though she's just a prostitute.
Yeah.
And Belle's like, yeah, it is. But it's like, oh, but don't worry, she wasn't actually a prostitute, so yes, her life's worth it.
It's like, so yeah, you made the hard decision, but you didn't actually have to, so...
Yeah, I don't know. That's what Danmachi should just steer clear. Luckily they did, because Spider Lady spit up a bunch of acid.
Yeah.
But that was my big takeaway from the episode, was that part. A lot of setup again. Like obviously we're getting to this point where we need to have a confrontation. It's still going to go now between this confrontation of Belle and them having to go down and fight the monsters. Yeah. How that's going to turn out before we even get to them fighting the Eclos family, which is going to be a little more.
I'm really worried they're going to turn this into a Belle versus the world type scenario, which I don't think is going to end well for anyone involved. So
yeah, I just want to see Belle do something again. Like something good. One of the big things in this episode too, briefly, is that even though. When he's talking to Lit or whatever his name is, and Lid's like, hey, like we also have to kill monsters. He's like, don't feel bad about it. He's like, you'll lose your life if you hesitate on killing monsters. And then even when Belle does it later, he's like, it's still like I'll never be the same. So
which I mean is a pretty reasonable way to look at it.
He could have a doubt always that even if he kills a monster, maybe that monster could have been intelligent eventually, or like
I mean I think they've established that they're kind of born intelligent. So
But we know more about it because we're the viewers. Belle would technically know less.
True.
So that's a big part of what's upcoming. The next couple episodes should be a little more hypey with the whole war against these monsters taking over a city basically.
Yeah.
Before we get to any of the wrap up with the Eclos family and stuff, that seems like that'll probably be the end, because the season's probably going to be 13 episodes. I think like the last one.
Yeah, they typically do 13 episodes.
So that'll probably be the end of it. Will probably be just against the Eclos family. Like, I don't think we'll get anything else.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we just get to see Deeks get his ass kicked and.
Yeah, by Bell obviously, and then.
I mean, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, I can only assume. But maybe they'll team up. It'll be like Bell and Lid versus him.
Fucking Weenie's probably gonna pull some shit out too.
I mean, Weenie's got to be powerful, right? She's like a dragony monster. That sounds OP. That's what they're implied. I think a Vivra, whatever the hell it's called, is some sort of dragon-like creature. She's got the scales on the face and the claws on the wings.
True. I honestly thought it was like some sort of merfolk type thing at first, but that's because I don't know the races very well. So.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really been given our fantastic beast and where to find them of the dungeon world. And is it wrong to pick up girls in dungeon? So, but yeah, next episode should be pretty good. Looking forward to it at least. It's only a few days away. If you have anything specific you want to say about this episode or any predictions, you can leave them down below in the comments. On to the next one, which would be King's Raid, and I feel like this is probably also a double title. This is the one thing I didn't write down in my notes, so I don't know what the King's Raid title is, but it is King's Raid episode 5. I'm gonna guess it's I'm gonna guess the title right now. It's a sacred sword and trees, is the name of the title.
I feel like you were close.
You can quote me on that one. Yeah,
I'm probably breaking the seal or something.
Breaking the seal.
I mean, you broke a seal.
I mean, they broke one of them. I still, even when I was watching this, I just tried to look it up on Crunchyroll. It's not on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Even when I was watching this, I didn't quite comprehend. I remember earlier they kind of mentioned the whole thing about like there being multiple people that keys the seal.
There are 3 seals.
But then in this episode, when they were talking about it, we're like, oh, like I need to use the sword, break the seal. Then it kind of sounded like it was the only thing that mattered. And she's like, fine, I'll let you have it. And then it was just one. I was like, oh yeah, right. That's what I thought. But why did this whole episode make it seem like he was about to get the sword?
Well, it's because it gave him a bunch of power.
And it never explained that to us previously. They never once said, as we break the seals, you'll
said
get power.
that once we break the seal, the power will flow into you. They just very much implied that you'd basically get all of it, is how it sounded.
So one of our predictions last time is whether or not we were going to see the main character get stronger, or if he was just going to be given power from his like connection with the sword. That one.
Yeah.
So yeah, he does not he doesn't naturally get any better.
We're gonna Hero Academia this shit, just free power ups all around.
Yeah, which I feel like King Kyle was strong by himself. I feel like even before he had the sword, they mentioned that he was taking out a lot of the demon army.
He was the general, and then they're like, "Hey, here's a little bit more."
But Castle could barely fight any demon. Like,
well, yeah, he was fighting the demon. Like he couldn't cut through the tendrils, and
even like the shitty demon army, which he hasn't gained any stronger or weaker since then. It's only been like an episode or two. He could not even take out like one of them. Like he was so weak.
Yeah.
And he was garbage. But now the sword, unlocking it's given him some power. A lot of it was very much what we expected in the past episode or so. It's been about him kind of proving her wrong when it comes to like humans. I don't remember what her name is. It's a very elfy name.
Yeah.
Serene? No. Serene? Might be close to that. Celine.
Yeah.
Celine?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
It's one of those two.
One day we'll know names.
But yeah, it's a lot of things. Little hints where, she like is like, oh, you can eat these mushrooms kind of thing. And the other ones all the other people are like, a little sus. I don't know if I trust you. And he's like, oh, mushroom. And I'm like, yeah. That's supposed to be cool of him, but we also know the dude eats bugs. So, like, are we that impressed?
True.
But yeah, a lot of it's just like hints that, he's different than regular humans. He bonded with this Trent. He went crazy over the death, all this kind of stuff. He's not just like every other human. He cares about all creatures and stuff like that.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't get the elf in the party.
Yeah, I'm also very surprised at that. I think we still might.
There is a chance.
Because I feel like at the end, when she's just like, she's like, oh, you could have went with him. She's like, oh, I couldn't go because of this. She's like, yeah, you couldn't. And then she it shows like the one girl's face, and then it goes back to the party.
Yeah.
I feel like she could still be coming. I feel like she could catch up to them at the next episode and be like, oh, I've decided to come.
Yeah, true. I mean, this is based on a video game, right? So I'm almost wondering if it's a case of like it's a 4-man party in the game.
I mean, maybe.
So like they're like, we can't take anyone out of the party.
Well, they all have specific classes though, too, right? And obviously she's the archer, and they don't have an archer, so she could very easily join the party.
Yeah, but they have a mage, which is also ranged.
Are we gonna get an orc boy though eventually, like a barbarian or something?
We haven't seen an orc yet.
No,
we saw
but
like one
but
dead
we're
on the
going
ground.
to now. I think the one main important thing to point is I'm liking King's Raid a lot more now. As much as it is a very generic, hero has to fight the demon lord with his party, so they travel around the world kind of thing. I like that more than kind of the vibe from the first few episodes.
Yeah, it felt like it almost felt cutscene-y.
Yeah, I do feel like we're getting a lack of Dark Elves right now, though. That's one thing. We're getting, each episode I swear has less and less Dark Elf story.
Yeah, I think the next one's going to have a lot of focus on them, because they were talking about how they have to go clear the forest out themselves.
Well, as I said, originally I was praying for this dual narrative, this dual perspective narrative, and now we've gotten substantially less Dark Elf.
Yeah.
But in general, the story of them now traveling around, they go to the Elven Forest to unlock part of the seal, then they have to go to the Orc Mountains to the next, they have to go somewhere else after.
Yeah.
I'm liking that a lot more. We get to see him grow each time a seal gets unlocked. He's a little bit stronger. A couple more hints with the witch lady in this one.
Yeah, she referred to the sword as a curse. And...
Yeah, so and there's two things. It wasn't like once she found out. First of all, the witch, dumb as shit. They literally just finished the sentence about let's not tell people about Castle.
Yeah.
And then the witch is like, oh, you've gotten stronger. And she's like, yeah, he has gotten stronger. His dad's King Kyle. And we're like, we just discussed this.
Yeah, you have one job.
It's been like literally 10 seconds. But the main thing is normally you would have expected like, her to be like, oh, King Kyle, well, I'll finish you now then. Or like, her like mad or like laughing at it or something about that long. But like she didn't. She actually genuinely just seemed more like sad. And then all she said, once she found that out, she didn't fight him anymore. And she's just like, yeah, now you've also been cursed by Lua or whatever like that. And will you like be the puppet as well or something along those lines? And then she just like vanished and she left. So implying this like deeper part of the storyline that we're not getting. She did right then in that time say that she is not with the demons too. That leads questions as to who she is. Couple options. Another one of King Kyle's party members in the past who maybe disagreed with how everything turned out.
True. Because there was who was in the party? There was Dominic, then 3 other people.
There was Dominic's. There was the Elven lady that we just saw.
Then there was an orc.
And
there's some other schmuck who's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and then maybe this was the witch. He needed a witch in his party.
Yeah.
Other option that's far less likely is some sort of still living, changed race version of his half sister.
I mean, we've seen weirder shit.
That's a very much like left field prediction.
Yeah.
But once again, she is not. There's more story with her. I don't remember her name right now. I remembered it really well in the episode we talked about her. But obviously she like died on the way. She was making her own holy sword.
Because we never actually got an explanation with her, right? So
yeah, no one in the world buys that she just died on the way and we'll never hear from her again. Doesn't seem very likely. So I was like, maybe this is some sort of like, her being like reincarnated or brought back from the dead. But then the big question comes that she's not a dark elf. Obviously, the witch, she looks very much not like a dark elf.
I mean,
but yeah, maybe there's some sort of weird. That's a little bit more of a left field prediction. I would say that being one of King Kyle's old party or friends or something like that is more likely.
Yeah, I almost wonder if she was the mage who brought out the Demon King in the first time, but then the whole not with demons kind of defeats that.
Yeah, and like I feel like that could be a twist. I feel like it was implied at some point that was a male, but they don't explicitly say it. I don't think.
Yeah, true.
But that could be like a twist, like ooh, it's actually me. It started with an M, but that's at least given this little hint. And her emotions there were different than what you'd expect. You'd expect it to be like, well, I'll finish you right now, then before you can get the holy sword, and but that once again proves more of her point that she's not with the demons, or else that would have been more of a concern for her. She was more surprised at the power of the sword, and then went right into like almost like a sadness at it, and as soon as she recognized that it was like King Kyle, because she kind of saw it before, she's like, "Oh, you're familiar." The first time they met, and this time now that she actually like saw it, then she just kind of got like sad after.
If wholesome shit like it, this is like the daughter of his sister who was also preserved. She just woke up as a mage.
One main thing that anime always has is the religion is bad. And then, the holy sword was given by a goddess, and gods and religion in anime 9 out of 10 times are bad. So this lady might have a strong point, and that might be a little bit more of a deep storyline we get eventually.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, nothing bad in the episode, though. Pretty good. I was very shocked that the elf didn't join them. That was probably my biggest surprise of the episode, to be honest.
It very much reeked that she was going to join them, but I guess you can't have too many party members. So
yeah, either that or she'll catch up maybe like after this, because as far as when we left them, they just left the forest.
Yeah.
And her conversation with I don't remember the exact words that were said, but her conversation with like the older elf,
the queen.
Yeah, the queen. It was like a little bit more open ended than I thought. Like if they showed that scene, she was like, "Yeah, I can't leave the forest because And then I don't remember what she said. I feel like that to me it was some sort of hint that she was going to leave the forest, though.
Yeah.
Could just be in my imagination. We'll see next episode. If she doesn't join them at the beginning of next episode, then I don't assume she will for a while.
Yeah, we've got too many humans. We need some other races.
Yeah, maybe by the time they finish the seals and get the sword, then they're going to go, plan to fight the demon lord. Then she'll join them at that point. But if she doesn't join by the beginning of the next one, they're not going to do it yet.
True.
So yeah, and we'll just wait till next week to see the next episode. Good episode overall, though. That was episode 5.
Yep.
Holy Sword and Seals was the name of that. Next up on the list is Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, got a big conclusion this week to the previous arc.
We did.
Yeah.
It's not technically over yet, though.
True.
Obviously, we talked about this before, even without talking about last week's episode. The end of the episode before was We saw this womb enemy in the prison, and then it said, it kind of gave us an explanation like, oh, 3 students went there, and then one of them died.
Yeah, which I don't think anybody believed.
No one believed, but technically it happened as of right now.
It's always a technical.
So we'll give a brief explanation. I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you would have seen the episode anyways, but the one we didn't talk about was basically just them fighting him.
Correct.
All the other characters kind of got away, and the main character stayed there to be like, hey, I'm going to summon Sukuna out, and he's going to take care of this guy because this thing's way too strong for any of us to handle.
Yeah, which, I mean, they're using like a major demon as just kind of like an attack dog, which I find is kind of funny.
Yeah, well, he'll attack anyone normally, but the funny part is he did come out. He's like, no. He's like, listen, thing. He's like, we're going to work together. Let's go kill those kids. And then if the thing was a little bit more intelligent, obviously, because of this, did he not remind you so much of the things from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood?
Yes.
The white things at the end, of all the alchemical, like, I guess they're all kind of homunculi in a way because they're all artificial humans. But yeah, he's like, oh, let's go team up, kill these kids. We'll show them. He thinks he can control me. But then the thing instead tries to attack him, and he's like, well, you fucked up once, you're done for now.
You're done fucked up. He just beats like a living crap out of him.
Absolutely wrecks it. He gets to eat another finger. Good for him. And then he's like, okay, you can come back out. What's his name?
Oh my god, I can't remember. I want to say Ecchi, but I know that's wrong.
No, it's like Ita Joji. It's something. It's Itadori, maybe.
That sounds right.
Eat a finger.
God damn it.
But he's like, okay, you can come out now. And then when he doesn't come out, he's like, oh wait. He's like, am I in control now? He's like, hey. So then that's pretty much where you get in this one. He goes back and he finds the spiky-haired Sasuke fella.
Yep.
And then they do a little fight. And then the Sasuke fella's like, okay, here's the plan. Because he's holding him hostage in a very funny way.
Yeah, because at the start of this fight, he literally just goes 1 second, rips out his own heart, says, yeah.
Tosses it away.
So I can live without this.
He's like, yeah, but your friend cannot live without his heart. He's like, so that means, we're assuming it's just because he lost his arms and stuff like that, and the power of regeneration must have kind of weighed on the dude's mind, maybe making him so he couldn't take over his body right away. But implying that even Sukuna knew that he'd be able to take his body over again, and he wouldn't have control. But if he took his body over, since he can see everything going on, if he took his body over and he didn't have a heart, he would die. And he's like, not even he will sacrifice himself or like will kill himself just to save you guys. Like he was just crying like a little baby a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, it's like, have you never met a shonen protagonist before?
Yeah, and then the whole episode goes on. He is fighting him, and then it's kind of implied towards the end as their fight that the spiky-haired guy is going to do something like very powerful, but maybe something that's going to harm him as well along those lines.
Sukuna specifically says, oh, we're at the point where you sacrifice your life for us. It's like, okay, so shit's about to get real.
And because he's just about to, we don't ever get to see what he actually does because he's about to do this, so instead, I feel like it's Itadori.
Yeah,
he then takes over Sukuna's body, realizing that he'll die, but it turns into him at the very end, and he's just like, hey, stop. And then he falls dead.
Yep. Get a little bit of mourning period after that.
Yeah, because that's it. He wasn't, and like the thought basically is that he wasn't retaking his body over just to die at any point because it's still possible that the guy could have done it. Yeah. He could have saved him somehow. He could have won the fight. But then as soon as while watching, he would have seen that he was about to do something stupid or sacrifice himself or something along those lines. He then just sacrificed himself, killed himself, lit his heart, fell down, and yes, that's where you obviously get the red herring, the bait from the couple episodes before that one of them died. Couple interesting parts after that. Obviously, they're mourning him a little bit in their own way, and then you get some second years come up.
Yeah.
And the best part is when he's introducing them, and they all introduce themselves. The girl's just like, because every single person when he introduces them, he gives them a little bit of information, and he's like, oh yeah, and that's Panda, and then he just kind of goes past it, and she's just like, wait, you don't give an explanation on the guy named Panda who's a panda, but you explain everyone else. Like one of the guys can only talk in ingredients and like ramen or some shit.
He's rice ball ingredients.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because he's a cursed speech user.
So the main hint of this is basically they're saying, hey, this this tournament's coming up. Tournament arc's coming up, boys.
Yeah.
He said this tournament's coming up where we fight against other schools. Normally first years aren't allowed, but
Okay, normally it's third years, but they're all gone and
yeah, they're all out. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like, all the major sorcerers were gone, so that's why we sent you guys to deal with this. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but and I like even the point where they're like they're all so free, and they're like, wait, you're all free except for they could only send us. Like, oh no, we just got back from being free, and now we have spare time. A real busy season, and like, what is it, like summer or something like that? Lots of curses.
It's the end of the winter season, so now we've got a bunch of busy months where all the resentment from that builds up.
They're like, now we have free time, so this is like, we'll train you guys for this tournament arc. We'll train you to be better. That'll help you kind of forget about your friend, forget about the sadness and kind of do this. And they're both like, yeah, train us. We want to be stronger.
Which I do have to ask, like, the guy who uses Shikigami makes sense, but the girl's power is literally hitting shit with nails. What the fuck is she going to do to someone that isn't going to kill them?
Nail gun, gets even stronger.
I said not kill them.
Nail them in their toes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. But once again, that's obviously hinting towards our fun, like every anime where they have the tuning exams against the other schools.
There's always a goddamn tournament arc.
And then, yes, the big ending, though, obviously we see Itadori's dead body, and, he's being examined, and they're like, it sucks that he's dead. And then
we meet the nurse lady who's like, I'm going to take you apart. It's like...
Yeah, and then we get an interesting character reveal who's some form of human character. Probably
there are a bunch of curses.
Well, he's got a bunch of curses with him.
He looked like a curse too. He just looked the most human.
Yeah, they also entered like people can see him. That's the thing.
I think they could see the other ones too. They just
they couldn't. That was part of the hint originally. You wasn't sure. You're like, oh, how can? But then as they walk, as you watch that part back a little bit more, it's kind of implied that none of them can be seen except for him.
Okay, maybe I missed that part.
Which is why he goes like table for one at the thing, and they all just kind of chill around him. I think he's going to be an ex, like sorcerer, like jujutsu person who like turned bad. Because they're asking him all the questions about the jujutsu guys, and he's like, I'll give you 2 conditions for winning right now if you want to win this war against them. He's like, 1, you got to take out Kakashi. Don't remember his name. It's like Gajo Sensei or something like that. But like, you got to take him out. He's the strongest one of all. So that's a nice little... We didn't know that. We knew he was obviously strong.
Yeah, he held up against Sukuna.
Yeah, he held up against him and actually did well. So we knew he was strong, but we just found out he's the strongest. And then he's like, and number 2, you have to get Itadori on your side. Yeah. And they're like, dude, haven't you heard? Kid's dead. And he's like, I'm not so sure about that. And then it just zooms into, then we just get the last scene, is just the showing of his body with the hole in it.
Yeah, with Sukuna saying, like, I don't appreciate you looking into me, kid. It's like...
Yeah, okay. So obviously he's not dead, as no one in the world actually thought he was dead anyways.
I mean, this does bring a little bit of doubt into their whole game plan with the whole,
Yeah, and
you have him eat all the fingers and kill him.
Well, not only that, though, but in the episode, it's heavily implied the fact that they specifically sent them there for him to die because they didn't want to deal with him. Like, the higher ups up in the society were like, we don't want it to wait for his execution. But now this is going to put a very big dent in their plan about executing him when he gets all the fingers.
It's like, hey, guys, I'm immortal. Fuck off.
Yeah, so there's going to be something with that. But hopefully he comes in time right back to make it for the school arc or the tournament arc.
And here's how.
Good episode overall. I always liked Sukuna. He's actually seems like it's like a cool... It's very much like, like a Bleach Naruto situation, obviously. Yeah. A lot of it has a lot to do with both of them. It's very much like a combination of the two because you have like the Nine Tails or the Hollow Ichigo situation.
Yeah. You've got the Goody Two-Shoes main character, then you've got this darker reflection of them on the other side. So. Yeah,
and it's like a struggle over who's controlling the body kind of thing. It's very much reminiscent of both of them kind of combined. Their team, to me, is always just Team 7. Like, you cannot tell me that they're not just Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi Sensei.
Yeah.
But then a lot of the other stuff, especially a little bit more of the darkness and early on, is very much Bleach. So it's a cool little mix between both of them. Definitely enjoying it so far. It's still one of the highlight. It's a big shonen. I've seen from people who've read the manga that they really love it too. So it sounds like it can only go up from here.
Yeah, there's a good chance to take over one of the big slots that have kind of been left behind with everything kind of retiring as time went on. So
so it's a good time. I don't know how many episodes this one's supposed to be.
I think this would be a 24.
That would be my guess too. So hopefully this just continues on to the winter season. We have it to keep going. But yeah, hopefully this gets better. I'm excited for maybe an episode or two when we're going to start a tournament arc. We might start a training arc first, because they have to get stronger.
We're going to get a training montage. I don't think they're... Actually, modern shonen's kind of shied away from that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That's why I was like, maybe they won't. Maybe we'll just get like an episode.
Yeah, we'll probably get like a half episode, then the other half will be him like coming back to life.
I think he's not going to either come back to life or reveal that he's come back to life until they're done their training.
Yeah, but he's gonna roll up as like a masked fighter, and they're gonna figure it out immediately.
Maybe because he probably gets strong with each finger too, so he's probably not stronger than he was before. So he might not need the training arc. That's my logic. He's not just gonna pop in right now before the training arc, and then they go into the tournament. It's gonna be something.
Yeah, I mean physically he was already superior to everyone.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he was cooler than them too. Let's be honest.
I mean, that's not saying much.
But yeah, we'll just look forward to next week's episode. Like every other time, it's a good watch. One of the ones that we look forward to the most.
It's one of the first ones I pick up on Fridays. So
yeah, and then we'll just wait to see you next week. So tune in then. Next up, and the final thing is our regular scheduled Fire Force episode discussion.
Yeah, which I have mixed feelings about this every week now.
What, Fire Force?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much. Now I feel like right now is the cooldown before we get into the final arc.
It definitely is, but even the episode before this, which we didn't end up talking about, was very weird.
Yeah, so this one that we're specifically talking about is season 2, episode 18.
Yeah.
So Fire Force is most likely going to be 25 episodes. That means we're getting definitely in the territory of one final arc.
Yeah, we're going to get one last punch up.
And this one was called The Holy Woman's Anguish.
Yeah.
/ The Man Assault. Both of which, you'll know what that is when you remember how the episode ends.
Yeah.
Both of which are very, very much, there's 2 parts of the episode, basically. One takes about 3/4, one takes about the last quarter, and the titles are directly referring to exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
So last episode, we didn't get to talk about it, was the finishing part of the Hajime Industries arc.
Yeah.
I
do want to note on how that one resolves.
Weird. So that, in a way that I don't understand what point the show's trying to make. Is it like a, hey guys, child abuse ain't that bad?
Yeah, because
the child will eventually learn to like it.
What basically happens is Kurasuno or Kurasano or whatever his name is. Kurano, that's it. Basically says, fuck it, I'm going to get serious. Then he just ends the conflict.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely... Well, to be fair, first, Nataku shoots one ginormous laser beam.
Yeah.
It, goes up in the sky, shoots a nuclear laser beam, and then, Charon or Sharon or however you like to pronounce it, he hops in the way like, no, don't worry, boys, I got this. And we get to see him, holding off the beam, getting a little stronger until he eventually shoots it up and hits the moon.
Yeah. I mean, for a set piece, that's pretty up there.
Yeah, so he makes a little bit of a dent in the moon, but, that's just showing off the pure power that was shot at him and how good he is at reflecting power, as is his thing. And then after that, Kurano decides, like, hey, he's going to get serious now, and he just walks in and basically insta-wins.
Yeah, like, maybe do that before the nuclear blast gets shot off next time.
Yeah, and then, but, like, the resolve was so fucking weird, because it was, like, the evangelist group was just like a, hey, let's just take what we got and go kind of situation. So they all left.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, we know where he is with Skull. It's like,
they all left. The 8th division was like, yeah, maybe he is best right now with Hajime. Maybe he's best with Kurano since he can kind of control him. Yeah. So then they piece.
They're still doing the experiments. This guy is still beating the crap out of the kid. But he's like, hey, you don't have to be strong. And that's all it takes.
Yeah, we get a little bit of the backstory of Nataku, which basically his parents put a little too much pressure on him to always be like the best, get the best grades, that kind of stuff. And he just kind of got to this point of always having to, like, in his mind, be like, oh, I need to do good or else, like, people won't like me kind of thing.
Did they show something like he got, like, an 87 on one of his tests?
Now, listen, that's a very classic. I don't know if you remember, like, all the funny, like, YouTuber, like, Maichani originally made, like, the Asian dad, like, disappointed from, like, the Asian F, as they called it, was, the B or the A minus.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you got 87?
Yeah, it was
whatever
like 87
will I tell
out of
your
100.
dad? It's like, what?
Yeah, so it's basically just, like, his family put way too much pressure on him. But then Kurano basically says to him, like, hey, I like you for just how weak you are, kind of thing. Like, I don't want you to get any better.
Yeah, you're good enough. Don't do anything more. Be weak. It's like,
yeah. So there's just so many mixed feelings. So then what happens is the 8th goes their own separate ways. The evangelist is like, let's just peace. We'll leave them to how he is. This is probably the best, anyways. That we know where he is. And then Shinra and I think was it Licht, Shinra, and maybe the captain met with Hajime.
Yeah.
And Hajime's like, hey, we're not part of the evangelist. Like, we're not. They're like, how about we team up and we'll kind of like, we'll help you out, you help us out kind of thing.
Yeah, we won't kill Licht. We'll chill out on the experiments a little bit.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. And then that was how that episode ends. So yeah, the weird points of that episode were definitely the weird outlook on child abuse.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, if the child eventually learns to like the abuse, is it really that bad?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole you don't have to be perfect thing was kind of a nice thing for him, but I think that was wrapped in a lot of bad. Yeah,
and what I knew it was going to happen in some way because we knew the 8th wasn't going to get another adult user, like another pillar, and I didn't think the evangelist was going to get this one too. If they just keep taking every single pillar, the plot line becomes a little stale. Like they just keep collecting them all. So I was like, how is this going to end? And then the way they chose to end, I could have guessed that, but like I wouldn't have because I'm like, normally shows try to avoid child abuse as a positive thing. But they're just like, fuck it. Like, whatever.
I don't know what the fuck they're going
They're like,
for.
if the child eventually gets happy from it, I guess it works out for everybody.
I mean...
But that was the plot. And then this episode, we go into a much more of a relaxing episode.
Yeah, we get Shinra and the sister going to bless their equipment.
Yeah, so obviously they've talked about this before, I think back in the lieutenant's backstory. because he was using an unbaptized gun, and his friend wasn't a fan of that.
All your guns and good bullets and
it was basically just like hey, it's not about you, it's about the person you're putting down.
Yeah,
it's not about you feeling more comfortable that it's baptized. It's about like they would. Them and their family and the survivors, that kind of stuff, knowing that they were, killed by a blessed weapon. So we've learned about that before. But yeah, basically the captain's like, hey, we have too many things nowadays. Like, we're getting too many jobs. We have too many weapons for her to take it alone. So, like, Shinra, go with Iris.
Which, it was like only 2 duffel bags. Like,
yeah, I was expecting a lot more. And you have a fucking car. Take the damn car.
Like, did she not have a license or...
I don't know. So Shinra goes with her. And there's always this, like, the relationship between Shinra and Iris have never really, like, grown that much.
Yeah, he's basically just a schoolboy with a crush at this point.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff for her, but even then, his whole thing is like, hey, if you have like issues, come to me first. Like, come tell me about the issues. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, she always like, okay, yeah, I will, but she never really does. And she's struggling with the whole thought behind the fact that their whole religion, what her life is basically all about is, based off a lie. And basically if the evangelists are the people who created the holy, temple of soul or whatever the religion, then technically if they're praise them, that means they're praising the evangelists, and so they're praising someone who wants to destroy the world. Hard to deal with. Obviously, it's easier when we see the perspective from Shinra, because he didn't really care about the holy temple of soul and that kind of shit anyways.
Right.
But yeah, then it's just about like Shinra learning, like thinking about it and realizing that it's bugging her. So he asked I can never remember his name. It's like Hua Saul or something like that, or Song. One of the lieutenants from the first, he's like, hey, like, what do you think about this? And he kind of gives him his perspective.
Yeah, we're not worshiping some god, we're worshiping the sun. There's the sun.
Yeah, it's we can see the sun. The evangelist hides in the shadow. It's not the same thing. Yeah. And I think in general the main takeaway is supposed to be that like it's once again, it's not really about whether or not the religion's real, but the people. Yeah, the people, most of the, obviously, other than a very small number of people, everybody thinks it's real, and that brings them comfort when their spouses, their kids, their friends are turned into infernals and have to be put to rest. It brings them a little bit of peace knowing that that there's a bigger plan in all this. Which, and I'm not going to get too deep into this, but is my general thought on religion most of the time. Anyways, it's not about, as long as like if someone wants to do good things or be a good person in life because of their religion, then even if I don't believe in their religion, I'm like, well, okay, you do it.
Yeah, if you're doing
but same thing. If people are doing bad things because of their religion, then
you can go fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone takes comfort in their own things, and I think that's like a good little plot in this. And then there is a very brief fight basically where they have to put down the priest who just turned into an infernal.
Yeah, which it does kind of beg a question. It's like, what do they believe if their priest turns into an infernal?
Well, that's what that chick is just crying about, right? The other priest there is just like, he prays every day, yet this still happens. I'm like, I mean, yeah, I think if praying was all it took to not turn infernal, everybody would be a fucking priest.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's like, hey, you've established that if you pray, you never die of human combustion. It's like, I can offer a prayer every day.
Yeah, everybody would do that. But yeah, and then obviously Shinra consoles her, gives him some of his own advice, a little bit of advice he just gained, and then that's where she's like, hey, like anytime anything's ever bugging me again, I'll come straight to you first. And he's like, yeah, you do that. And then he carries the stuff home and he carries her home. And then he's like, you're kind of the 8th divisions, you're kind of the sunflower, and that. She's like, oh, that's nice. She's like, but I'm like an iris though, and they're not the same thing. He's like, yeah, I guess you're right. And then that's the end of that part.
And then
the next part, okay?
Yeah.
If you want to know we're in a filler episode, look no further than the next part.
This doesn't even look like an episode. This looks like they took like those little comics you get at the end of the manga.
It's true.
And just made it into an actual.
The weirdest part is when they very first show Assault. He's like presented as like, man, this guy's gonna be a badass. Yeah. And he's gonna he slaughters people, right? Like that's his whole thing.
He destroys stuff. He's the unstoppable assassin.
Now, obviously, the way he ends, he loses because he keeps falling for what's her face's. Is it
Lucky
it's
Ledger?
Not, yeah, like as I was about to say, it's Maki. That's not. She's not Maki.
No, she is.
No, that's Maki's the stronger one.
Oh god.
That's what I can't remember her name right now, but I do know it.
Koneko or no, that's not it.
But yeah. So she has the Lucky Ledger thing, and he in the original fight in the It's not called the Underworld. It's definitely not called the Underdark. I've been reading too much of the the R.A. Salvatore novel.
Yeah. Oh God, it's like the Abyss or
something like along the line. So yeah, well they fought. He fell for that, and then after that, he just got like knocked with a pipe unconscious.
Yeah, and then he's like, "I'm gonna go train for this." So his attitude was, "I'm gonna go watch a bunch of porn." It's
yeah. So basically, he's like, "If I watch tons of porn, he's like, then this won't affect me." And then he keeps calling her out to fights. Yeah. So he watches all the porn. He calls her to a fight. She meets him there. and then he still loses because he still falls for it.
Yeah,
you know?
well, the first time it's Tamaki, by the way.
Yes, Tamaki. The first time her entire clothes are just blown off, right, including her like bra and underwear. They're just in the sky. And you don't know how or why.
Yeah, I mean that's what always happens. But first time it's like, oh shit, it's a different person, so I'll go meet actual girls.
Yeah, so he starts going to like a hostess club or like a strip club.
I do want to know. This is probably the highlight of this entire arc. Did you notice the little reference in it?
Which was it? The dude in the background?
Yeah.
With the dog? No. Okay. So I was wondering about that the entire time, but I wasn't picking up what it was.
It was. It's from the same guy who did Soul Eater, right?
Yeah.
It's Maka's dad.
Is it? Okay. I saw like the red hair.
Yeah. It's. They even call him Scythe-san.
Okay, that's what
Scythe-san.
I saw it in the background. I was like, no, this is too much information for this not to be something.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I saw the red hair, and I guess I probably could have put that together.
Yeah. So they've established that this happens in the same universe as Soul Eater.
But yeah, so. That little part, so he's like, I'll just go meet women in real life, so then the real thing doesn't really matter. And then he goes to fight her again.
And loses.
And yeah, it still does not help. It's different when, it's almost like it's different when it's accidental, you know?
Yeah, he said it's different when it's an amateur.
Yeah, the people at the club, they're professionals. He was able to handle them no problem. But then when the amateur accidental, he just still couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So then he goes off for more training, you know?
Yeah, it was the epitome of filler.
Yeah, he goes off into the desert to go train more. No, because after that, doesn't he go into like
he goes into a town that's very windy.
He goes into like a city that all the wind's blowing to like look up women's skirts and stuff like that. Like it's very very filler.
Yeah,
especially from this character when he's first introduced as like a very serious character, like a slaughter basically.
I mean, he never did anything serious though.
I know, I guess that's part of the joke is they introduced him like that, but even in his first introduction, he didn't really get to do anything, that bad. And now he's just kind of a joke.
I mean, because think about it, he's only ever fought Tamaki and Iris.
It was Tamaki and Maki.
Was Maki there?
I think, yeah, it was a 2-person fight.
Yeah, I thought it was Iris with him. I thought Iris was the one who bopped him.
No, I feel like it was Tamaki who bopped him a bunch.
Maybe.
I don't know. If you're watching this and you're a big Fire Force man, correct us down with who.
We've had a lot of stuff go through our heads recently.
So. It's also harder when there's like this is like 4 or 5 episodes ago at this point now. Maybe even, no.
I think it was last season.
No, that was this season.
Was it?
Yeah, they don't go to the Abyss thing in this till this season.
I guess it was before. It was in the last block of it season.
Yeah. So I mean, if you remember that far, let us know who had to fight Assault because it was definitely Tamaki and one other person.
I'm almost positive Iris was with them at the very least.
No, he specifically mentions it because he talks about how maybe he doesn't.
You're gonna go back and watch this episode.
Yeah, I don't. I do like when he's first introduced and he's like in this episode. He's like, I got to deal with that assassin. That's her. I was like, I don't know if she's quite the assassin, but. Yeah,
I mean, for him, she is.
Funny part, not very serious, very filler, because we're probably getting ready for the very final arc, which means we need that little bit of a rest time first before we get into whatever this final part's going to be.
A little bit of downtime.
What the final arc is going to be, I do not currently know.
Yeah, because I don't think they're just going to drop another pillar on us.
They're not. Yeah, they're not going to drop a pillar already. They're not just going to go into the Evangelist Lair for fun.
They can't even because they don't know where it is.
Well, they know it's somewhere below ground, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's a lot of ground to cover.
We could get back into like the Captain of the First territory again. We could see Joker and Benimaru again.
Yeah, because they kind of they've left that by the wayside for a few episodes now.
Yeah, they did. So there's some things that could happen, but that means we're gonna need to get into it in probably the next episode to lead us into what our last 6 episodes will be about.
True.
So yeah, looking forward to that because once again, a very short or a very non-important episode. This one, very filler still funny at parts, and I still think an important message for the first part at least. Like they discussed that earlier, but the whole what does the religion mean anymore kind of thing. But it wasn't with Iris, who her life is based off it.
Yeah, because she was raised by this religion. So,
so
you've seen Habana, who kind of has walked away from it. It's like she's made her own path in life, but Iris is very much. She's a goddamn nun.
Yeah, that's all she lives for, basically, is that. She has nothing else going on. So that mattered most to her. So that's why that was kind of important. And then, she got a little bit better relationship with Shinra, too, which is important.
Yeah.
And then the one last thing I'd mention with that part is the comparison again between Iris and the lady who is Amaterasu.
Yeah.
It's been mentioned, it's been shown before, and I don't know if it's just because they're both blonde women, but in this one, once again, when Shinra's talking to her.
It is very much implied that they're very similar.
Yeah, which we don't know how yet.
It's going to turn out she's like the descendant of her.
But we know nothing about her family, right? She was just...
Yeah, she was an orphan.
She was just an orphan inside there. So
we know it's her mother in there.
Could be,
Because we don't know how often they have to stick a new person in there.
Yeah, we don't know how long. And we're assuming based off the tabernacle thing that once they're in there, they don't have a regular human lifespan, I don't think.
Yeah, true. But
because that was a long time ago.
I mean, we only had the words of a vole to go off of for that.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I'm excited to see what the arc is, what the final arc is, because as of right now, we don't know. There weren't even like really hints to it. We've just kind of finished this Hajime part. The Evangelist is kind of like a joke right now. Like they haven't really been taking that seriously so far this season.
I don't even know if it's that. I think we just had a lot of different things to deal with in the show.
We haven't really seen anything from Sho Kun in quite a while. I'm hoping they go back to the Joker Benimaru stuff or the Captain of the First, because there's still so many questions with the Captain of the First.
Yeah, I mean, even if they bring in Sho again, we get some conflict there and see Shinra try and deal with his little brother again.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a nice change to the pace we've gotten. So
yeah, well, I'm curious, and we'll just have to wait till next time when we see. Yeah. Other than that, that's all the anime we have for this week. Obviously, tune in next week. It will be talking about all the same anime, I assume. I don't think anything new's coming out. You never know. We might swap it up if we get an episode of something we're watching gets really fast. Sports climbing girls, they just climb the shit and walls or something.
Yeah, we've been keeping up with Kuma Kuma Kuma, and there's a few other shows as well.
Yeah, I definitely next week, I think if anything, we might add in maybe something that if I do manage to catch up on like Talentless Nana or something like that, we can maybe finally talk about that.
Yeah, that's one I'd like to talk about. I did also finally catch up on Higurashi because we had that mentioned in the comments before.
Oh, yeah, because the person asked if we watch Higurashi, and I was like, I'm still scarred from the first time I watched Higurashi.
Yeah.
It was very much when I started anime, like many people, I started with a lot of like shonen and stuff like that. And then when
it's a pretty safe bet.
So. Yeah, but then there's also a lot of the people who started or didn't necessarily start, but they went down that very much like dark anime path, which I did go down. But in comparison to a lot of them, I did not like Higurashi that much. It was very weird. The whole like the time loop thing or like the different.
It was an interesting idea.
Interesting idea. I just didn't necessarily love it.
I will fully admit, looking back on myself back then, I was being a little edgy.
Oh, if you watched Higurashi and you liked it, you were just being edgy. That's just part of life. That's like it's same thing like when I watched like Mirai Nikki, and another stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everybody gets into their like kind of cringy, edgy anime phase. It's just a fact. We all have to go through it. But I'd be curious to watch Higurashi to see how it holds up, because I know it's not technically a remake, because it's like
it's almost a reboot.
Which I guess you can easily explain in Higurashi, because even before that it was already like rebooting itself every like 4 episodes or something.
So it's almost like the stories that weren't told the first time. But so it has been interesting to watch.
Someone mentioned in the comments and they asked if we watch it, and I said I don't because I'm still scarred. I said Jimmy might, or he might watch it eventually because he used to be a fan, and obviously Waifu was on there from back in the day.
Yeah, I was crushing on Reinhardt back then.
The early Jimmy waifus. One episode we need to get to the discussion just about our anime waifus, and we could talk about the past ones. Because our current ones, if you're not like a fan of like, Chizuru Mizuhara, then what are you doing? She's like number 1 waifu from the season.
I'm not having this argument again.
Maybe for a long time. But if we got into our discussion on our past waifus, that's a whole separate thing. Because we're talking like, we started watching anime when we were young. Like I started watching anime when I was like 10. So
yeah, like I remember like watching card captures in like the original Dragon Ball.
Yeah, one of my first waifus would have been like fucking Nami or like it was never Sakura. Even as a 10-year-old, I knew trash when I saw it. It would have been like I'm trying to think of who I never liked. I was never the Hinata fan either. Like
she's a very specific taste.
The one captain with the purple hair and the spiral eyes in Naruto.
Kind of. I was never the Naruto.
Well, that's who I was a fan of. Or there was the girl who was bit by Orochimaru back in Naruto days. Her too. I liked the adults even when I was a kid watching Naruto. I was not a fan of any of the people from the actual Naruto show. Yeah. But yeah, one day if we get into those discussions, that'll be cool. But yeah, Higurashi. I need to watch Akudama Drive, and I would like to catch up on Sleepy Princess, as we mentioned earlier.
Both of them had pretty good episodes this week. So
they did, and I don't know if we're counting this as an anime or not. They did just put a new animated show on Netflix, very much in the same style as Castlevania. It's called like Blood of Zeus.
Okay.
If you look, yeah, they have it out right now. If you watch like the trailer for it, it looks identical to Castlevania. So I'm assuming it's the exact same team behind it.
Probably. Yeah.
Those always like Castlevania always really, really blur the line between anime and cartoon.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was animated, but it was from from a Western material, and it also had like a very big popular Western cast. It was specifically made around English dubbed. A lot of cool voice actors in that.
It's basically the same argument you would have about Avatar or Ruby. Or
and like most people, I love Avatar, and I would still like argue Avatar's a cartoon. But it's just a cartoon with like Asian inspiration, not even from like manga, but just all the different martial arts styles, all from different places in Asia. But yeah, that'll be interesting if we want to talk about that eventually. If we just watch inside, that's anime enough for us to talk about.
Right.
There's still like The Great Pretender still going on. I haven't watched it in a long time because it aired in a very weird way. They released like a chunk of episodes, and then after that chunk, now they've started coming out like weekly. But I think it's almost done now.
See, I kind of forgot it existed because recently I got access to high-speed internet for a few days, so I just watched a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I'm excited now that I have like, I don't, it sounds almost negative when I say I have no future plans. I have nothing on the horizon to look forward to. Jesus. Not in a negative way, but since everything with like a bunch of different weddings and holidays and stuff like that, I've been really just trying to crush out these anime we talk about. Like it's like each week I'm like, oh, I have to watch all these episodes today or else I won't make it for Sunday. But now I have all this time, so now I'll be able to watch new anime that I haven't seen, or even rewatch some old ones. I'm always a big fan of rewatching anime I haven't visited in a long time.
Yeah, I'm still working on Haikyuu, so I don't have that freedom yet.
Haikyuu just had like a 2-episode, almost like a filler. I don't know how far. You're not very far in season 1, right?
I'm pretty far of it, yeah.
Have you met Nekomata? Their rival team from like the old age. Okay. Basically, where they're at right now. Spoilers for Haikyuu a little bit. Not really. They're in like national arc, which I think most people know at this point. Yeah. But for the past 2 episodes we've seen, it's been more about the team Nekomata playing during a game that's also going on for like the main like Karasuno. It's like a good arc, but because they're like their team's main rivals, not like a villain way, but like a
this is how the rivals get to the finals as well type story.
Yeah, so we're watching that at the same time, which was kind of cool. But yeah, Haikyuu's always a classic.
It is. I kind of regret not burning more of it. I ended up finishing Cautious Hero and Infinite Dentagram on that day instead. But
listen, sometimes you need trashy isekais. And I one day we'll maybe get into the full conversation, but the ending of Cautious Hero always surprised me. Like I watched it and I was like, I thought this was supposed to be just a pointless funny. They had some of the best scenes in it, like when he just absolutely smacks, like the one girl. Oh, that's what she goes to.
Thought Slayer.
Yeah, she goes to smack him, and he just like hits her arm and just fucking smokes her.
I slap you.
But yeah, then the end, how like dark and serious, just like the backstory in that turned out, it was like insane. So if you haven't watched Cautious Hero yet, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Yeah. Go watch that. So one day when we talk about it, one day we're gonna have an episode just discussing a lot of the isekai shows, especially when maybe like because we want to talk about like Bofuri and stuff like that before the next season comes out.
Yeah, because we've kind of fallen off on the after episode.
It's just because there's so much anime. Like these are our list right now is only 7, and that's just because these are the ones that we think people want to see the most. But realistically, we could be talking about 12. It would just go on for too long. Eventually, though, if we get slow seasons where there's only like 3 or 4 big ones we need to talk about, that's when we're going to start bringing in the post-episode discussions. If you have discussions you want to hear, just put it down in the comments. If you're like, hey, I want to hear about your guys' thoughts on, what do you think about, like even past things. If you're like, oh, like which is the best classic anime, which is the best like 90s anime or early 2000s, or
it's something like we could always do the talk about what got us into anime. I think we touched base on that in a previous podcast, not in the series, but
and like a different we might have talked about a little bit in the first episode, but like not really. But yeah, like stuff like our first anime, what got us into it, just a full discussion on our favorite anime. There's a lot of good conversations that we want to have. All of them are going to take a little bit longer though. You can't just have a 10-minute conversation with your favorite anime. That's not how life works.
Yeah, it's like this is my favorite. This is why.
But yeah, once we get into seasons, because we're going to keep this up for a while, once we get into seasons that have more downtime, only a few episodes each week, then we'll start getting to the bigger discussions. Right now, we just have so much to talk about. We don't want to keep people here for 3 hours.
True, and we're already on a crunch schedule too. Like we've got 2 days to watch like 12 anime.
Yeah, we're doing this specifically so that people have a full 5 days to watch the episode, to look and see our opinions on last week's before the new one comes out. So it's given us a little bit more of a crunch time to watch these, but then it's giving people more time, which is the point. We can suffer a little bit so people have more time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not suffering at all.
Yeah.
Worst case, I lose a little bit of sleep.
That all being said, if you've gotten to this part in the episode, even if you're just going through skipping to the ones you see, make sure to subscribe. Obviously, just seeing the subscribers go up is good. Make sure to like, and then most importantly, leave us a comment. The comments are the best part.
Yeah, we love any type of interaction, even if you're just commenting what we said, if you're calling us an idiot, or...
Yeah, obviously cool things like a lot of anime. If you have theories, stuff like that, leave us theories on the anime. A lot of people do, and then we kind of look back. Like I remember even with... stuff like Demon and Misfit Academy, we had some people posting theories about that. Yeah. So then the anime ended, we got to kind of like go back and look and be like, oh, this person was right on that, or this person was wrong on that. Yeah. And as well as too, like leave us thoughts on upcoming anime that you are pretty excited for. Like if you heard about other things coming out like winter season. Yeah, obviously Attack on Titan is going to be a huge one, and if you're excited for that, leave a comment about it.
Yeah, because we're just starting to get into announcement trailer time, I think.
So within the next couple of weeks, we're going to hear about a lot more shows that are supposed to come out in winter. So if there's ones you're hyped for, let us know now, and that way we can already preemptively have our list. Yeah. Because obviously shows like Attack on Titan we're not going to miss out on, but maybe there's something else we might be sleeping on and you guys might be, you know, manga fans or something like that, might be like, no, that's the show.
Yeah, anything with because I almost feel like it was this way last season because we have a major hitter like Attack on Titan or ReZero coming out. I think a lot of other shows kind of put off to another season just to try and get better ratings. So
yeah. Plus, we're still at the end of well, I don't know if we're at the end, but we're still in the coronavirus year. So a lot of anime that's supposed to come out has been delayed.
True.
I know I was very excited for the newest season of Free, but that got pushed back to 2021. But yeah, so stuff like that. Just leave us comments about anything you want. You can either bring it down into each episode that we talked about. You can give us your thoughts on that, or you can just leave us advice or something like that. Say something about the podcast that you liked. Say something about it that you hated. We're always going to try new things, so we're always open to new suggestions.
Yeah, feedback's always appreciated.
Yeah. So. Other than that, I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start asking in a pinned comment a specific question every single week. So, if you're watching this, just go on there, answer that question, give us a little bit of feedback. Other than that, guys, I've been Cam.
I've been Jimmy.
And this was the episode. Take it easy. We'll see you next week. Enjoy all the anime till then. Peace.
Peace.